right, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday Night Forum. Yes, that's right. We are back. It's been a couple of weeks, and I have to apologize because it's been me, and I haven't been motivated to come on and talk about Arsenal losing to Newcastle 2-0 in the first leg and losing on Sunday to Manchester United in outrageous circumstances. Um, yeah, we just couldn't face it, right? I had built this team up to, go all guns blazing, Tony, on four fronts, and one of those guns have been taken away from us and put back in the drawer for another year. The FA Cup. I'm going to speak a little bit longer because you're in between
English Cups be out of there just as quickly.
mics. Yeah, listen, I'm hoping against hope that and because the second leg of the Carabao Cup or the EFL Cup, whatever you want to call it, the second leg is spaced 4 weeks apart. That we will run into some form, Tony, in
Yeah,
the next
two
two or
two
three
two
weeks.
legs, two legs and running, right?
Two legs and
You
running. I'm
you're really
sorry,
running.
Tony. I'm
You're going
sorry, but
after me.
you know, it's a marathon, not a sprint, right? I think you could do a marathon, but not a sprint.
Maybe might be the other way around.
All right, so listen, apologies out of the way. I haven't been I wasn't in the mood on Sunday to face the music, to face the reality that we've been gun shy, that we've been. I think I saw Gary, I saw the show the other night. 49 shots and only one goal in those two games. You know what I mean? And that one goal coming from Super Gabby Mega Legs.
Yeah.
So there we go. Talking about legs again. Arsenal Misfits is in the house. Hey, everyone. Hope you're all well. We have something to talk about tonight. We have a North London derby that, warmed my heart a little bit. The result warmed my heart a little bit. And, yeah, I was at work seeing the flavor of my timeline tell me we're killing Tottenham again. We're killing them with kindness. Uh, we're making all these chances. And what happens in the North London Derby, Tony? Uh, Son steps forward and becomes that player who's scored the most goals against Arsenal in the Derby now. Good evening, good Thursday evening, everybody. North London Derby. But we turned that around yesterday. We turned it around in smart and quick fashion with 2 goals in 5 minutes. But that was all that they said. That's all they wrote. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we
Uh,
should have. There were even worse than what Man United is, and that's saying a lot.
yeah, that is saying a lot. I was wondering about Ruben Amorim and his boys today if they would drop a poor performance in there. I haven't seen the game, but they were behind for the majority of the game, only to come through and win in the end. I think there's some work to be done there at Manchester United. Um, Hold on a second. Yeah. So where was I? Steven's here in the house. BX Gunners in the house. Greetings, everyone. But Steven says, Ray, I know how you feel. I booked extra work, so I couldn't watch the Man United because I didn't want to watch another Arteta shite show. Boy, was I correct. Look, I think we did. Tony, if we were to write a book, if Arsenal was to write a book on how to lose a game from a winning position, I think we could write a book on that game on Sunday in the FA Cup.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, and especially considering they were down a man for over 60 minutes. So
Yeah, 30
it's a
minutes
bad
plus 30. Yeah.
it's a battle out. bad loss. I know some of the teams can play slightly better since there's bigger gaps, blah blah blah. But you still should be able to break when you're facing 10 men instead of 11 men.
Yeah. Tony paying homage to Lawrence, the mighty Lawrence. Indeed.
I'm paying homage to Alonso. Fuck you, Alonso.
BX, greetings, everyone. Listen, settle in. I feel like hopefully we might go a little bit longer tonight. We'll see what happens. But I feel like we got to give something back after not having a last Thursday, not doing a show because of Newcastle. Last Sunday, not doing a show because of Manchester United. It's been a rocky road now, Noe. Hope you were doing well.
I'm not I'm not disagreeing with your choices, Ray, because I felt like shit and definitely didn't want to sit up and talk.
Yeah, yeah. You had different circumstances, though, right?
Yeah.
You had, as Gary would like to say, you had a medical phenomenon going on with you, Tony. So
Yeah. Dehydrated, piss and blood.
you've had everything, Tony. You're like a human encyclopedia of medical phenomenons. You know what I mean? But there you go. Listen, so I hope you do stick around with us tonight. Yeah, look, we've not been playing well of late. We came into this month off the back of a win. We started the month with a win at Brentford. A good win, which augured well for the rest of the month. Then we went away to Brighton, and most seasons going away to Brighton and an isolated away game like that, most seasons, Tony, a draw would be a pretty good result at Brighton. But it felt we didn't play very well, and the referee had a part to play in it, and the circumstances from Liverpool have dictated that we maybe needed to grab more points than just the one draw at Brighton.
And it was a bad result. It's like I said, it was just down the beach after all these Linden fixtures that we've had. It's
A day at the beach in Brighton
uh,
on January 3rd.
I still never remember that, Ray. 12 out of 13 games in London. That's just
You know, you and I, we have a mind for numbers. We do latch on to these things. We have a propensity to talk about them. Listen, I think we'll talk about it now because we can dovetail the Brighton game along with yesterday's game at Norton and Derby. And you know what? Like, there's been a lot of things that happened this season, and we're going to look at our wins, draws, and losses. We haven't actually strung 4 wins together in the league this season at all. We've strung a number of three wins together, but then there's been a draw or some drop points. But what I will tell you, Tony, and something that you've been talking about a lot this season is
did you go to my new system, Ray?
No, I didn't go to your new system. What's your new system?
3, 1, 0. On instead of win, loss, or draw.
Well, I think Arsenal, we've lost a couple of games for sure. But what I was going to say, Tony, dovetail Ethan Nwaneri's display at Brighton with MLS, Miles Lewis Skelly, last night against Tottenham. And what we have is, a decent percentage of kids, young kids from the academy. 2 of them who have really, in some ways, they've probably outperformed some of their seniors this season.
Yeah, looking at Skelly, looking at Calafieri, I think Skelly's a better player already at this point.
Yes. The natural thing for Arsenal fans, they're going to want a young player who comes through the academy. They're going to want to back him emotionally. They're going to want to back a young player coming through, having come through the system, having grown up as an Arsenal man through and through, over a signing who's come from Italy. But emotion and sentiment aside, Tony, Miles Lewis Skelly has really just taken his opportunities. And ever
Yeah.
since the day he squared up to Erling Haaland in the old "Stay Humble" right down there in the title,
Yeah.
"Stay Humble, Erling," we just enjoyed Miles Lewis Skelly this season so much.
Yeah, and to me, all this is gonna be tainted, according to Ornstein saying that we're going after academy players of other teams. It's like you got all these guys. I think a lot of these guys have left because they haven't gotten any time in the first team, so they left. But there still has to be enough quality there without going to other clubs in the world to get your
Well,
youth players.
you, the one thing as well, Tony, is we've built Mikel Arteta's built the team up from being a mid-table team 4 or 5 years ago, a number of eighth-place finishes, points in the 50s and 60s, which now we would sneer at if we finished with 63 points or 68 points, because Mikel Arteta has taken this team forward, and we've improved each and every year. And the task at hand is to improve on 89 points this season, which is not going to be easy as well. But the quality in the team, Tony, is so high because we have upgraded through the windows, um, that an, an academy player has to have that quality to be able to survive in the first team.
Yeah, but you have Arteta again complaining about having not enough players versus complaining about too many players. Then not enough players, and now he's back to not enough players again. He's the one that signs them. He's the one that can get the youth players integrated, which he should have done long before this year because Skelly's been around and he definitely looks like he fits the bill. When Harry's been around, looks like he fits the bill. So I don't see why you just throw on you throw on Winery to break the record in England of the youngest players to ever play
Yeah.
in the Premier League, and it's just like if you're gonna do that, you have to continue on with the player. Not a year later, but the next year they could have loaned him out or did something with him to help develop his career further than just keeping him at a second team. But
Well, maybe his quality was so good and such a talent that we didn't we chose the path to blood him into the team. Um, we can see now the players that this next season may be departing. We can see the aging players in midfield who may be departing. We can see the gaps in the squad. We can see an opportunity maybe for Sinchenko to leave, Kivior to leave, and to go back into the market and upgrade once again. And obviously, we're going to talk about the striking position, the striker position up front.
Tyranny, Tyranny going back to the Highlands
Tierney going back to Scotland. Yeah, yeah,
with
um,
his kilt on and
yeah.
everything
And
hanging
his
out.
take his Tesco bag out of the locker. We have loved Kieran Tierney. A little bit saddened that he had injuries throughout his career at Arsenal, that interfered with some of the things that we were trying to do with him. Had to go out on loan in Spain, probably a good thing for him, but happy that he came back and we were able to give him some minutes as well. Kieran Tierney, we will all have whatever happens with Kieran Tierney this window or the next. We'll all have fond memories of him and good things to say about him, because he's always conducted himself in the right way. He didn't go to the press. He didn't complain. and he's just a lad who wanted to do his best for Arsenal. Tiger and Gunnar, morning for all the way from Australia, and Miss Melina's in the house as well. Welcome, Miss Melina. Evening all. Stephen, evening, Miss Melina. So the other thing as well, Arsenal misfit. Stephen said couldn't care less where a player is from. For me, the best player gets the bulk of the work. Arsenal academy player or not, no preference at all. Yeah, definitely. I'm just saying, Stephen, that it's nice that the better player who's getting the bulk of the work and is finding a way into our hearts is an academy player, is an Arsenal player, is a Londoner, a local, and we've seen the interview with Ian Wright. We've seen the way. I don't even know how he got. What was that booking all about, Tony? Do you know? Like, okay, there was a little something going off. He was about to kick off and do something. Was it with Brennan?
I'm not sure what he was doing, but something
Yeah,
about yeah.
yeah. And do you think maybe he was going to be substituted and wasn't leaving the field? Either way, the referee was very very quick, and that's something that I've been hearing about with our referees. Didn't see the Brighton game, but understand Ethan Waneri also got a booking for a corner. So the referees are trying to. And as I speak about referees, look who's in the chat just as I speak about referees. Welcome, Stan. Good to see you. I think, and Stan and I are maybe on the same page here, Tony. There is a
I thought
slight referee slapdown for Arsenal.
you guys in here, no, not buying it.
All right, Lolo's in the house. All right, so we're not going to do the quadruple. The treble's still on. I'm saying that in only the style that Lolo could say. I'm channeling my inner Lolo right now. That sounds bad, but I'm channeling my inner Lolo to say the treble's on now. We're gonna go to St. James's Park and we're gonna score 3 goals unanswered, Tony. We're going to get to the final and we're going to beat Liverpool, maybe. And says he wins the trophy in the second season. He's still there. But Lola, I'm fully behind you as well in the league. I have never given up. I have never given up in the league. I have carefully crafted the way for Arsenal to come back into this thing, Tony. You've been listening to me, Tony. Liverpool have played all of these big games at Anfield. They're not the same team when they go away from home. So here we're seeing it. It could have been 11 points, Tony. It could have been a 9 point gap. It was a 9 point gap at one time. Now, it's still with a game in hand, right? They've got a game in hand. But that 9 point gap has come down to 7 points. Or if you even want to not see that extra game that Liverpool need to play, 4 points, Tony. What do you think?
You have to give him the 3 points for the game in hand. I mean,
I am not just giving them 3 points for an Everton team that Steve Moyes is going to craft. You know, we've gone from Dyche to Moyes. You know, Everton have gone back to what they know best, and that's David Moyes. I think he can. They say you never go back, Tony, but I think that David Moyes can do quite well at Everton. The other thing, Lolo, let's not forget about the Champions League. We are in third place in Champions League in a good position now. We talked about this through the campaign, Tony. We're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to go all over the shop tonight. So throw your questions in the comment box as well. But Tony, we talked about this. Yeah, you and I have loved to broach that Champions League conversation, right?
yeah.
So here we go. The Champions League could be easier to win than the Premier League.
Yep.
Discuss. I keep throwing you questions. You guys stop taking mouthfuls of food just as I'm teeing you up with a question, Tony.
I was answering you, Ray. think it's yes. It's a big yes because you just have a handful of games there. Not quite how this new format will play out towards the later ends of the tournament, but it's definitely more feasible than us
Hmm.
catching Liverpool.
All right, so you're saying there's a chance. I'm saying there's a chance in the league, and you're saying there's a bigger chance in the Champions League. There you go, Lolo. Between the three of us and people in the rest of the people in the chat box, Arsenal are going to do that treble. We're going to overcome Newcastle, beat Liverpool or Tottenham, and because that's what we do. We beat Tottenham everywhere they go. And Gary has made an appearance as well. Hello, hello, Gary. Hope you're doing well. Um, yeah, listen. Um, the league is sorted right now. We're doing this Lolo style again. The league sorted. We're going to overcome Newcastle in epic fashion. You heard it here first, Tony. And Tony's got us winning the Champions League. So I'll handle the league. You handle the Champions League, Tony.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll stick to the international game there, I guess.
Yes. So who, we've seen Barcelona take Real Madrid apart in that whatever you call it, the club world championship,
Classic.
right?
Yeah.
Uh, Barcelona look pretty good. Are they a better team than Madrid right now?
Probably, but they still have the problem of having two of those players registered.
Yes, yes, yes. So who's our likely opponents in the latter stages of the Champions League?
Yeah.
Give me three teams.
I mean, you always know that Byron's gonna be around there. Not sure which of the Italian clubs are up there.
Inter.
Probably
That's
Inter.
two. Bayern and Inter. Will they be better than Barcelona and Real Madrid?
Uh, Probably top to bottom they probably are, but
Yeah.
it's Barca and Real
Listen,
Madrid's top
there's
heavy part.
we know we can go toe to toe with Liverpool when we have our players when we have when we sign a forward this window and he integrates into the team, we can cover the gap between Saka being out. Some of our rival fans saying because Saka might not even come back this season. It depends on the extent of the tear. We've got injuries to Waneri. Jesus is going to be out for the best part of the year with a ruptured ACL, so that's tough luck on Jesus as well. So we're going to talk about going into the market here, and Arsenal will be active in the market. It just depends on which store they're going to shop at. You know what I mean? And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Stephen, after the Tottenham game, how do you even consider us winning the Champions League? We should have dropped 2 more points, but for the piss poor ref, they gave us a corner instead of a goal kicker. Ray, your humor is sick. Listen, Stephen, this time last year, I'm actually trying to be upbeat about this, right? This time last year, we were beaten by Liverpool at home in the FA Cup at the Emirates. We were horrible that game. We're not going to have a break to go to Dubai, right? But when we came back from Dubai last year, I don't think the break had a whole lot to do with it. But we had a win against Crystal Palace, and the gears started moving then. I think confidence comes back slowly. Arsene Wenger says confidence goes down in the elevator fastly, and it's
What
very difficult. You got
what
to climb the
what
stairs. So confidence, when you lose confidence, you go down the elevator. To gain confidence, you got to go up those steps, up the stairway again. So it's definitely impossible. We can turn it around, Tony.
I know exactly what we're shopping at, Ray. we're shopping at the duty free store. That's where all the luxury items are.
Well, give us some
Easily.
names in there. Stan's got Rashford in there. I know how Stan feels about Rashford. Uh,
I don't want any of those fucking players anymore. You could take him and Sterling and burn them, and I'd be
but
happy.
listen, Stephen, I don't know if you dislike my humor or just what I'm saying is off color to you, but my humor, I'm just being upbeat, and I think that we can. Okay, we beat a very poor Tottenham side 2-1. The ref assisted us because we got a corner we shouldn't have gotten. But a win is a win is a win. And it's a win that could give us a way back into the league. And our Liverpool fans are maybe worried about this Arsenal team waking up and starting to put 3, 4, 5, 6 wins together. Gary's in the chat probably here still. Um, you know, we did that last season. We put 5 or 6 wins together. We got to do that consistently because a 7-point gap to Liverpool still needs to be bridged. But it's a lot better than a 9-point gap. Let the Modelos. I hope you crack more than one Modelo tonight, Jose BX Skinner. We're definitely in the market for a striker. Okay, Rashford, Tony. When we bring in Rashford, he needs to hit the ground running. Now, that's a sense of humor right there that Stan's putting to this as well, Stephen. You know what I mean? So, listen, let's warm our hands in the glow of a North London derby win, a double over Tottenham.
That's not hard to do, Ray.
Ray, you're a sick man. Some people say that's a compliment when you say you're a bad man, Ray. You're a bad man. Uh, Jesus has now done both ACL. Yeah, I think Stephen. I think you might agree with me. Our project for Gabriel Jesus will be to rehabilitate him, get him back into the team, and when he scores 5 goals in 2 games, sell him. That's when you sell him. We should have sold him January 1st, right, Tony?
Does his contract end this summer? Or does it go in the next
I
summer?
don't know. You're the contract man around here. You're the treasurer. You're the Department of Defense, and you're the contract man, right?
Uh,
Appreciate all of you being here with us
and,
tonight.
and according to Lonzo, I'm the Lawrence Stanton.
You're the Lawrence Stanley as well. Well, you just have to get into that bed at some point as well, Tony. Champions League is definitely easier since it's knockout. From here on out, can't lose. Yeah, you can't lose any games. And we haven't been great in cup. We haven't been a great cup team over the last 4 or 5 years. Premier League is vastly different level of opponents from week to week, and dropping a few points generally doesn't kill you. Yeah, so Lolo has set that up perfectly there. As we know, it's a knockout competition. Some of these will be over 2 legs as well, Lolo, which gives a slight Premier League
Why
feel.
do we always have to talk about 2 legs? You guys that
Well,
have 2 legs can talk about 2 legs.
so I go home and away. Let's say home and away, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
You
there
got to
you
go
go.
away from the Emirates and you got to go to the Emirates. So that gives a little bit of a Premier League feel to it where you can have an off day. You can, Stan will know, you can be in awe of a home crowd and be, caught like rabbits in the headlights a little bit. We don't want that to happen. But obviously you can do that in the Champions League. You can navigate the Champions League because they're spaced out a little bit more. Premier League, these games in the Premier League will come quick and fast. And this month has been testament to how quick the games come around. We've encountered for the first month, Tony. We're going to encounter 4 competitions. Yeah, Tiger and Gunner. There's 2 legs, Tony. I'm sorry, Tiger and Gunner. The Premier League is vastly different, and you do have on any given day, you do have an opportunity to draw points, such as Liverpool dropping points at Nottingham Forest. Now we got to go to Nottingham Forest as well on 25th of February. But I'll tell you what, this is where we can set ourselves apart from Liverpool if we go there and win. And it's a game that we're going to have to win, right, to get some of those 7 points back.
I,
It,
I'm not sure if I agree with your periodic table shirt, Ray, because if you ingested half those,
what?
if you ingested half those chemicals, you would go bye bye.
Adjusted half of them. I don't know. Oh, ingested half of them. Okay. Yeah. But there's balance there, right, Tony? Because they're all of them together provide balance to the force. So that's why Arsenal. I mean, if you remove a couple of the letters as well, you could spell a lot of things as well. Like, countdown. You could spell a lot of things with Arsenal. With in countdown. People know countdown. So there you go. Give me Fat Rooney. I bet he scores at least 10 league goals. Whoa. Keep drinking that Modelo. Do not put BX in charge of our transfers after a few Modelos.
Why does he look like he's 55, Ray?
He's been living life large, right? And I mean that in the nicest possible sense. Wayne Rooney,
in the late mid 90s, he was like 16, and now he's
yeah, he started his career with scoring against us, and now he's finished. Rashford doesn't run; he jogs. Look,
he's
people
like
who
Benjamin
complain.
Button.
I want to say one thing, Tony. You reminded me about this. People who complain about Kai Havertz diving, Manchester United fans who complain about Kai Havertz diving, please refer them to Wayne Rooney in the 50th game of Arsenal's 49-game unbeaten run. In the 50th game, Wayne Rooney dives. So don't let any Manchester United fan be holier than thou. You know what I mean? That's the only way they could have beaten our Invincibles, Tony, is to dive for a penalty. And the other thing, Ruud van Nistelrooy, I'm enjoying your managerial stint. I'm enjoying you losing games, Ruud. You're a rude boy, and you're going to get relegated. You're going to be relegated, Ruud, with Leicester, because Leicester are poor, Tony. Anyway, that's just my Manchester United diatribe.
I don't get it, Ray. They went from being terrible to being very good in the league under us. Then last year they weren't very bad, but this year they're terrible again.
They are going to be the new Norwich of the Premier League and the EFL Championship. They will go up and they will go down and they will go up and go down, But yeah, they deserve it after what they did to us 10 years ago. We seriously need someone to come in hot and make an instant impact. Yeah, injuries, Tony. This injury is going to be tough on Arsenal now in the next few weeks.
Yeah, I know our Arteta will be resisting the idea, but we definitely need more troops.
We need more troops. We need Sterling troops. We need Trossard troops.
We need a lot better.
Leandro, we see you. Thank you. Thank you, Leandro. We had a little bit of Martinelli. We had a little bit of Leandro. I actually think we'll talk about Kai as well. We need to address Kai because, he's going to come good eventually. But we have to completely disavow the horrible, horrible, heinous things that was being said to Kai's wife. Not you're not an Arsenal fan if you speak that. Talk about the players. Talk about how they've been playing. You're not an Arsenal fan if you go after the wives. Um,
Yeah, I mean, you're sitting there talking about slaughtering a woman and her unborn kid. It's totally
Disgusting.
tasteless. I made sure with Gary we kind of let off with that on Monday because it just had been announced pretty much, so it was fresh in our minds. But it's just like, why is this shit still going on? Can't you digitally find who these people are and actually find them? I mean, it's just
Find them,
these.
prosecute them. If they're 12-year-old kids, get them in trouble with their parents. Have the parents deal with that crap. You know what I mean? This is disgusting. For anyone who to do that, complain about the way he plays. He'll know it. Guy Havertz missed a penalty. He's
Uh,
missed numerous chances.
uh,
And the other thing,
uh, there was a contrast, right? I mean, I thought what Domino's UK did was kind of funny
yeah,
with Guy.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry for our missed
This,
deliveries because we hired this
where,
guy.
listen, we're when Kai Havertz is scoring goals and beating teams and beating Chelsea 5-0, you know, we're bigging him up. We're behind him. You know what I mean? Because he's scoring goals. To the other point of view, every player is going to miss something, some chances, and his time he's got to come back. He's missing simple chances, but he's going to come good. And Stephen, I know we talked earlier. Arsenal's great by Tottenham yesterday, but we did beat them. We have done the double over them, and I think we're going to slowly start to gain confidence and and move forward and winning games. Stephen
So,
said, for us to turn this around, it will take Arteta admitting that his tactics were all wrong for the second time in a year and going back to fire wagon football
so,
like
so,
last season.
so how
Don't think he
happens?
will do it.
Do we throw Sterling on there, or do we start with Trossard and Martinelli? Throw Martinelli on the right.
Yeah, Sterling's got to stay on the bench. I would go with Trossard on the right, but sometimes you're going to need to do the other thing. Play Sterling. I think we have Sterling. He's got to be the player who steps forward and to take minutes when because Saka can't be there. And so we can have Martinelli come on and Trossard come on and be those impact players. But the club has to do something. It remains to be seen. It remains to be seen what kind of player we're going to get in the door, Tony. Uh, Listen, last season we
But
adopted.
this is the type of stuff that should already been planned way in ahead. I mean, these players should have came in really this summer because you knew Saka couldn't last like that. You know Odegaard couldn't last like that either. What happens? They both break down.
I think I don't know if you can plan in the summer and say, yeah, I don't think you can plan and say that Odegaard's going to miss 8 games between October and November. Bukayo Saka's we're just going to get Odegaard back, and then Bukayo Saka's going to go down and get injured. So and roll in Ben White and Tomiyasu into that. That's our whole right hand side, Tony. There's no way that you can really plan for that. What you do try to plan for is to have what do you call it? Players who can play in numerous positions. Forget the word uh, for that. Adaptability, right?
Utility, right?
What
Utility players.
utility players, adaptable players, players who can play in numerous positions. I always thought we should have gotten a striker. Of course, none of us were happy that we didn't do more than Raheem Sterling. in the summertime. But I always thought as well the last summer was going to be about adding depth to the team, and we can argue now in hindsight. I know you wanted a striker over Calafiori. I know you wanted a forward player over Mikel Merino, but
Yeah.
those are players that we did choose to invest in to add depth to our back line and our midfield. And Raheem Sterling was something you just we remember that on the last day of the season. It just happened. He just turned up on our doorstep because he had nowhere else to go, Tony, and we took him in. You know,
Return to sender, Rick. Return to sender.
return to the blue half of London. So yeah, for us to turn around, it will take Arteta admitting. Also, I don't know if he. Of course, I mean, I want to go back to that swashbuckling football as well. But I just don't know if Arteta is going to do that. He's leaned into this more rudimentary style of playing, heavily reliant on set pieces. But we can score goals from open play, as evidenced by Leandro Trossard. So we saw that yesterday in the North London derby. We saw a set piece goal, perfectly orchestrated, and our rival fans are so annoyed. They're like, "Yeah, we get it. You're really good at set pieces. We get it. You have Gabriel Magalhaes now. I think he scored 20 goals, Tony, in his career. He's scored 20 goals in his Arsenal career so far.
Can you finally admit that he's our better center back, Rick? Come on.
He's an absolute weapon. You know what I mean? What you have is you have other players that are just like bowling pins standing in the way of their markers. So they're all blocking the goalkeeper, they're blocking defenders. And this ball comes from the corner all the way to the back stick. And Gabriel Magalhaes starts from the edge of the box, Tony. And it's like, you ask yourself, we've seen this 4 or 5 times this season. You ask yourself, don't they know that we're gonna try to do this? Don't they know that he's the most dangerous man in the box when we're taking a corner? Don't they know they should try to stop him in some way, shape, or form?
It's
He's
like nobody.
unstoppable.
It's like nobody pays any attention to him till the ball's in the back of the
And
net.
he's like this monster. He's whatever way he has to twist his body, because he's sideways. He's almost like sideways like this to get to the ball, Tony.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what direction he is, he still always gets plenty of torque on his head somehow.
Yes. And you got, I don't know who was marking him, Drugasan or whatever. Maybe he was on drugs. Uh, Dominic Solanke, the ball comes off of him, but the goalkeeper is out of the corner kick because he's been blocked off, and most of the defenders can't get to Gabriel Magalhaes, and he is just a monster. We saw him do it against Manchester City. Before he scored, he did it. He does it before he scored. He does it when he did score. It's just, and as Stan said, Gabriel Megalegs. And look, I'm coining Stan's nickname for him, Megalegs, right? We got to call him Megahead. Gabriel Megahead or Megalegs. He is our most improved player. 20 goals now. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think, Stephen, we're going to rely on set pieces. We're going to rely on control. And sometimes control of the football is not always control, because sometimes we give up that one opportunity, Tony. And we're thinking the caliber of the players who do score against us. You know, it's
But
Bruno Fernandes, it's Isak, it's Gordon, it's Son. These are the top players at every club doing it.
but
You
but
know,
but but don't you think the freedom these players have setting up, and usually Gabriel's the one calling the shots. saying where he wants football, what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And, and he's so instrumental in it. It's like, why can't we have that on the offensive side instead of Arteta controlling every
Uh,
body
maybe
movement of every player?
here's a hot take. Maybe Gabriel Magalhaes could be our striker.
Fuck, he could be just stand there and hit it.
We seen him knock one in against Bournemouth last season. We seen him score against Manchester United. I swear, Tony, if we played him up front, he'd get 15 goals a season
Probably or
in the
more.
Premier League. My God, we just figured that one out now ourselves just here. Lolo said Premier League is a low block one week and end to end the next week. Yeah, it, there's a lot of different teams out there, you know, and they all play slightly differently. They all try to play out from the back. That's true, but they all play differently. Play a low block or end to end. That's why you'll get Tottenham able to beat Liverpool in the Carabao Cup. That's why you'll get Tottenham able to beat Man City in the Carabao Cup. But you'll also get a Tottenham who's lost 11 games in the season. You know, and Ange looks forlorn right now. I don't want him to get sacked. I actually like him as a person. Just the the people he's affiliated to, they're not the best people, and I think he's starting to. He's gonna have his Antonio Conte moment. Remember Antonio Conte
Yeah.
at Southampton? It's the history of the Tottenham. Rashford is a head case these days, and I want nothing to do with him. Probably would be a huge risk to bring Marcus Rashford to the Arsenal. You know,
I mean, there's so many Premier League strikers that we could still go after. Yeah, it might cost you a little heft, but we know we have the money.
yeah. Okay, Premier League.
You gotta spend it at some time.
Right, Tony, Premier League. You know, I've mentioned a certain player. You probably will remember who I mentioned in the summer. Who was that player?
Uh, Not Isak.
Come on.
I forgot
Don't
you
let me
said it.
down. I don't forget
You
your sticks. Why are you
you said
forgetting
it so
mine?
many times I forgot it, right?
Brian and Buemo,
Yeah, there he
right?
is. Yep. Uh,
Oh,
that's
Tony, you
great
let me
for.
down big time there. Okay.
Well,
Brian and Buemo,
as soon as he said your name, I'm like, yep, that's one.
Thomas Frank. Every manager in January will say certain things, right? Uh, it will take a number beyond the number I'm thinking to even make me think about selling him. But like you said, Tony, everybody's got a point at which they will sell. You stick 60 bags, 55, 60 bags on Brentford's doorstep. You offer the player to triple or double his wages. You know, who can say no at that point to Arsenal?
Then you also have this other tool you can use to actually get us growing in some numbers. You can sign players that their contract ends in the end of June, so they're free to sign. So you can say, "Hey, we'll actually give you a little bit of money," and they'll be like, "All right,
Mm-hmm.
that works."
Yeah. Let's clean up a little bit here. When we face Rude, I want Keown to be on the Arsenal bench as a coach. My picture, my picture is of Rude and Keown. Um, Gabriel was man of the match easily. Skelly was solid again. Trossard scores with a great shot. Great tackle by Partey. Let's not forget Thomas Partey. Start the Trossard goal. Havertz was just poor again. Yeah, Havertz is a streaky player. He's going to come around again as well. My thing is, and we'll get back to the players that we want again in January. My thing is, you just get the wins, and certain players will come to the fore for you Gabriel Mega Legs and Leo were the two guys yesterday. Big game. We'll talk about Aston Villa. You and I like we like to talk about Unai, so we'll talk about Unai
Yeah.
in a little bit. Sterling slows our game down. So yeah, I got no plan for tonight, but we're going to talk about a lot of things, right? No set plan, but we have a lot to catch up on. Okay, Brian and Wembo, Thomas Frank. You go to Thomas Frank, who I actually like and could be I think you could be a great candidate for a future Arsenal manager, Thomas Frank from Brentford. Put the bags down, and you were saying, a player who has like 6 months left, they're going to leave in the
Yeah.
summer. You attempt those, right?
Yep.
Johan Wissa at Brentford. That's another one. You talking about Premier League players? Who would you go for realistically?
I don't know. We could have went with Isak. We know we could have had him for the summer, but for some reason we turned him down. Don't know why.
Yeah, it's starting to look bad on us, isn't it? I mean, Isak for 60, 70 million 2 seasons ago. All right. Some people have said he's got that injury jinx over him, but by God, Tony, 8 games in a row now he's scored, and he's
Yeah.
single-handedly pulled Newcastle from mid-table up into fourth place.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like, why are they in 12th place? So then, boom, they're back in the top four.
They're on 12 wins, right? Or
Yeah.
10 wins, something like that. I think we have, I forget how many wins we have. I'll check it out in a minute. I know we have probably, I don't know. I'll check it out. Stan said, right, so we're going to go on to the continent in a minute. Isak, Gyökeres, Sesko, you know, these are the players we're going to talk about and what kind of profile we want to attack in January. So so there's two tacks to do here, and let's get Stan's comment out of the way and done first. Ferran Torres from Barcelona. This is what Stan's been talking about for a little bit. Torres from Barcelona knows the league and can play anywhere across the front three, then bring it in Isak in the summer to complement him. So this is what I was going to go to, Stan, this type of thing. You get a player now in January, and you don't blow all the money you have in the bank where you keep the majority of that, and then you go to Newcastle with 150 million. I know that's pie in the sky. I don't think it'll ever happen that Arsenal would pay 100. Never say never, right? But Arsenal paying 150 million for a player. What would you do, Tony?
Um, if that's how much money it costs, that's how much money I would spend. We spent 109 on White. White hasn't lit up the league this year. I mean,
Rice.
Rice.
Yeah.
At this point, you would say he's probably a bad buy, even though he was good last year. But it's like, to me, with him, they have to figure out, is he an attacking defender or is he a defender? Sort it out and just stick with it.
Yeah. News about Zubimendi for the summer. So you Liverpool fans.
It's kind of like baseball players. They get their positions picked early on, and they just stay there.
Um,
And
yeah, Liverpool fans getting gassed up that they were going to get Zubimendi in the summer. It's another big expensive player who's dived, who swerved you, Liverpool. Caicedo swerved you the season before. Zubimendi has swerved you this past summer, and now there is agreement. I understand agreements in place for us to trigger a release clause for Zubimendi in the summer. I don't know why things can't be brought forward, that we can't bring him in, um, this month, this window. But I'm sure that there is a situation in place where we're going to bring Zibamendi in the summer.
Yeah, there should be a way to get it done this winter.
Yeah. This is what BX is saying. Yeah, gotta start moving like an elite club somewhere. So there's a couple of things we can do. I happen to think you think Isak is not off the table. I happen to think he could be just beyond our reach now with that valuation. So for me, I know Sesko. That was the big thing, Sesko today, right? Um, I would move almost to Jokeres now. You know what I mean? If we're gonna go big this month, go get Jokeres, and he's going to be one of those players that could complement our style of football as well. Um, Sesko in the summer, also. You know what I mean? I like Ferran Torres as BX. Um, Gabriel is the only player who's improved. Uh, Under Arteta, in my opinion, even Saliba has regressed this season, along with most of our players. I think Stephen, I'm going to put up this caption soon. Then you'll see how many wins that we have not been able to put together. We've only been able to put runs of 3 wins together. I think that a lot of that has been punctuated by our injuries this season. That has shown that we haven't been able to get into a rhythm. And I would
Hurry up and
contend,
do it.
yeah,
Hurry up and do it right in the format I wanted it.
yeah, the format you wanted, what, threes and ones and zeros?
Yep.
I'm not doing that. I'll put it up. I'll put it up the way I have it here, and then and you'll like it, Tony. And that's the way it will be. You know what I mean? I don't have time to change that around, but here we go. Yeah, there we go. All right, so yeah, we're a little bit over 50% of the season passed, but you can see here we've put 3 wins together only twice this season. So that's crazy. The referees, Stan, are you listening?
Uh,
Because I
uh,
agree with this. The
uh,
referees have
uh,
the referees have played their parts in some of these draws, Tony. The first draw and the second draw, I believe, are Brighton and Manchester City away from home. Um, and then we get into a loss where arguably is the least contentious is Saliba getting sent off at Bournemouth. We draw because of a consequence of Saliba's suspension. We draw with Liverpool at home, and then we go and lose at Newcastle. In a game we were piss poor at Newcastle.
yeah.
We're always piss poor at Newcastle, right?
Saliba cost us a lot of points there.
I guess you could say he cost us the draw and the loss itself at Bournemouth. We do remember Gabriel Martinelli having an opportunity to score. So seasons can be a lot of ifs and buts, right? And there's a funny rhyme that goes along with that. Um, but then we come out of the international break having lost to Newcastle. We play Chelsea away from home. One of those performances, Gary will say, yet again we let a lead slip, and that's true. We did let a lead slip, but we played really, really well. And the first win back after the break, Tony, is beating Nottingham Forest at home, which gave us the start of 3 wins in a row. And then we drew twice with Fulham and Everton at home. We won 3 more games in a row, and we drew at Brighton most recently. And yesterday, we're back on track with another W. So we hope that last W will start the long line of 4 or 5 W's together now. Going to be
I
tough
thought
games.
you, I thought you said you're hoping that last D's the end of our D's.
Yeah, let's hope it's the end of our D's as well. You know, And Gary's about to join us, I think. He's right here now. All right, Gary. Good evening.
Hey there.
Hello. How are you tonight?
Doing good. Doing good.
Good. Uh, there's a lot of things that Tony says, a lot of things that Stan says that I know. There's a lot of things that Gary says that I know. And Gary says we need to string more W's together. Right?
Yep. You can't take the last result into the next game. Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on the North London Derby and overall? My thinking is the confidence might creep back into us very slowly. We had a fortunate, some would say a fortunate win yesterday, but we got to take it and move forward.
It's the people always talk about performance over results, and people will say you just need to get a result no matter what. And I'll say I'd rather have a consistent performance that I can build on. And yesterday, our performance was similar to what it's been most of the season. I mean, we're going to make a mistake on defense, and I'll start with a negative, I guess. Give up a goal. And then attacking-wise, we're not clinical still. And
one guy is, and he's 6'4" and Brazilian.
Yeah, but he's not a striker, and two, he's not a striker, and two, he's not an attacker, and three, he's not an attacker. I mean,
Tell him how many goals he's almost up to, Ray.
He's up to 20 now.
Yeah, but he's only got, 3 or 4 for the season, so it's not like he's like our leading attacker or something like that.
No.
So, but no, I mean, is he a better defender than attacker? Probably, or else they would have moved him up, right? We've seen players get moved up. I don't know if Arteta's that type of player to move somebody up just because they're playing well, but no, we are, we're putting ourselves in a position to win games. You just can't put the ball in the damn net.
Yeah,
it's really the only problem.
For you, is that performance then, right? You're happy with the performance?
I think it's a mentality thing, because I can't believe they don't practice shooting balls into a big goal. And I always tell you, we practice the way you play. So they obviously don't practice for scenarios that come up in games, because they seem surprised when the ball falls to them. They always take an extra touch, and if they've been watching the way football works, you take the extra touch, you let the defense in. You take it one time, you're more than likely gonna, you got to catch the defense. You catch the defense off guard, and the only way to do that is take the shot either immediately or if you see them off a little bit. We seem to wait. I mean, you see how many block shots we get every game. It's because we hesitate every time. Take an extra touch. Sometimes for what reason, I'm not sure. Inside the box, you're still taking an extra touch. For me, it's a mentality thing. And it's hurting the team. I mean, all season. And I think it's look for the pass first kind of mentality, as opposed to you're inside the attacking third. We need to score.
Yeah, we've seen clips of Martinelli played through by Odegaard in the FA Cup game. Takes an extra touch when the shot is there.
Martin Odegaard had 2 opportunities to shoot in that game as well. He didn't take them either. So it's everybody. For some reason, when they, like you said, that one to Martinelli, he's through on goal. He takes an extra touch, eventually shoots it, and then it's blocked by the defenders. I mean, I don't know. That's a mentality thing. That's because we know they can shoot. We've seen it.
Yeah. When you're missing Bukayo Saka, I don't think
we can't. That's not an excuse for why you're missing shots in the box.
No, I'm just saying the other players know.
We're missing shots in the box when Saka was there. That's not. It's a way we play.
The onus is even more on them now to get those goals. You know what I mean?
But okay, they can't handle the pressure. Which one is it? They can't handle the pressure. They don't have the right mentality. I don't know what it is, but they're getting themselves in the really good positions, and they're not putting it away. I mean, how many games have we lost like that Manchester United match? They got nothing on us. We gave them one opportunity. They took
We
it,
lost
and
2 in the league.
then they were down a man for 60 minutes, and we couldn't do anything about it, right?
Yeah, the 2 we lost in the league, Gary, Bournemouth and Newcastle away from home, and Newcastle at home in the Carabao Cup as well. So
in all these games, we're having opportunities to score, and we don't do it.
And if you want to look at the Champions League as well, and Inter Milan,
We've lost 2-0, and you know how many times in those 2-0 matches that we lost? Guess who could have scored the first goal of the game?
Martinelli.
Yeah, 1-on with a goalkeeper. He can't do it.
Yeah,
multiple times. He's had those. I mean, I know it's 2, but you don't get that many runs at goalkeepers with that much space as he has in those 2 games.
Yeah.
And after that, guess what? We lose 2-0. For different reasons, but we still lost, right?
Yeah, the title is like we are XG Kings right now. We those expected goals are high, but actual goals are not ringing in, Tony.
Yeah.
But couldn't we use them as a make weight?
Which one, Gabriel?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking about that, Gary. If you put Gabriel Magalhaes as a striker, he'd get 15 goals.
We might give up 15 goals, so then you know what?
I just put Kivior back there. Tony's got full confidence.
30 goals. No, I think. I mean, he doesn't shoot all the time. You guys make it sound like he's shooting all the time. I mean, he's shooting when he's up there for corners. And
if you put Tony and I as coach and assistant coach,
we'll be losing a lot of games. Kiwior is not a good replacement, for any of our center backs.
Yeah. So. All right, Gary. What kind of player do you think we should look for this window? Or what kind of player would you like?
Nice to get one that can just put the ball in the net. That's like really good at shooting.
Have you got a name?
So any of the attackers we're looking at, I think, give us a better odds than what we have now.
Yeah, I agree.
So you pick any of them. They all have the thing is, well, Arteta put them in positions to succeed, right? We talk about that, but like we don't have the numbers anyway. So like saying, oh no, we can't bring this player in because of that player for this. Jesus most likely may not be coming. He may not be back to any kind of form ever. Like in a sense that is he worth holding on to, right? Trossard isn't re-signing, so that's another attacker gone, right?
Yep.
The numbers are dwindling down, and we already had 4 attackers leave us this past summer. 2 are going to come back, but are they going to be worth it?
Yeah. Raid the Americas. There's tons of talent that won't break the bank. I don't think there's very much talent in the Americas, honestly.
I don't think he means just university, USA. I think he means South and Central and
South, baby, yeah.
So there are other places besides America, United States, and Canada. I mean, some people, I don't think Moss is here, but he will harp the drum of one Jonathan David, right? So all he's doing is double-digit goals and stuff per year. So I don't know.
BX said, "How are Brighton so successful at consistently bringing through players?" I think they have a good network. They use analytics strongly as well. But I also think Brighton are a team that groom players for other Premier League teams. You know what I mean?
But
they're not charged.
But their talents don't dwindle when they leave. I mean, it's not like they're not playing well. I mean, it's not like Trossard it didn't like change what he was when he came to us, did he?
No.
Still a clinical striker,
Yeah. No, I think
you're looking at Casado. Does he look any bad? I mean, look at all the players that they brought over.
I think Brighton do a good job, but we can't really laud Brighton as being this fantastic finder of players. You know what I mean? They're still a mid-table team, Brighton are right now. And they were arguably more successful in previous seasons as well, when they had the likes of McAllister, Caicedo, Bissouma, and the team. Bissouma, who gave up the ball yesterday. Tony?
At some point, they got to decide. Yeah, we need to keep some of these players, and we need to make a run in the league instead of just
Yeah, well, it's
being
Tom.
okay to
Tom
circulate players in and out.
Tom will complain about the hierarchy of the Premier League. He will complain about the top clubs, but that's what the top clubs do. They can't wait for an Isak to get. Arsenal can't wait to groom an Isak to be the best player in the Premier League. Unfortunately, we don't have that space in the squad. We don't have the money to invest in him. But when he's the finished article, maybe we can go get him, like a Declan Rice or a Kai Havertz, arguably the finished quality. So that's what's going on. Do you want to spend 80 for an unknown quantity like Anthony, or drop 150 for a sure thing like Isak? I wouldn't say 80 for like Anthony. Anthony's the worst example of spending 80 million. Pepe was the one who was ridiculed and bantered, but Anthony's been worse than Pepe. I would go halfway and say Gyökeres. What do you think, Gary, Tony?
I still think you go with Isak, but
Tony, Gary, what are you doing?
Just get one of them, and just we need to make a move in January. So let's see what we do in January. I feel like I'd rather bring in two plays in January, and then if you still have the.
Yeah.
I mean, is Isak worth 150?
The way he's playing right now, yeah.
But is he worth 150?
No, I wouldn't pay it.
You know what I mean? It's not even what is 150 worth? Is it because basically you pay 150. We know he's got injury concerns, and we know we're not so good with the injuries when players come to us, even when they're healthy. All right, I just feel like the number. I know outside of a small squad, he needs more numbers because he needs to be able to rotate.
I think publicly he's saying that, Gary, but privately he's like, we need more.
Well, obviously they didn't. I mean, they didn't go. They didn't. You don't let all those players go if you really think that you want to have numbers. I mean, Nelson and Fabio Vieira didn't have to go if you really wanted to keep your squad at a decent size.
I'm really confused about what happened in the summer. It's not crystal clear.
So right there, that are we? Is it a good deal? Like, are they doing anything where they're at? Fabio Vieira, I think, was injured for a bit. Funny came back and started to play. Nelson, similar thing. He can't get off the bench, right? So I don't know. At least you have some numbers, and then maybe you send them out on loan in January if you decide you want to bring somebody in. But we needed attackers anyways. Can we get all the attackers, and then we have we're like. You know how I like to say we're like 10 men short?
Yeah.
We're close to that going into next summer.
We could put a list together of 10 men, whether they're always injured and deemed beyond reproach, or if they're just not of the required quality that we require Arsenal to be to win leagues and compete heavily in Champions League. I mean, get into the semi-final each and every year, get to a final, win the goddamn thing as well. Loudmouth Football said the derby wasn't up to the standard. Well, Tottenham, that's just who they are, mate. And this Arsenal team are recovering from a severe lack of confidence, a lot of games, tired legs, and needing more reinforcements in the window. So it wasn't up to the standard, but
we know why. One, it's because we keep teams in the game. You know how many games we've kept close because we can't put the ball in the net.
Many.
Look at any of the games that we've drawn. Look at any of the losses. We had opportunities to score. We had opportunities to score in every game. We've been shut out more times than we should have. Right.
Yep.
Right. So I mean, So it seems like we're making teams look better than they are, right? I mean, we just saw it today. Manchester United didn't do anything until like the 78th minute, and then they went on and scored 3 goals. I mean,
Yeah.
like when they scored 1 goal on us, all right? So for me, we make teams look good, but that's because we can't,
Sometimes
we can't do our own job.
we
I
talked
get
about
it.
how good Gabriel Megalegs can be, but he does take some chances at the back, trying to head that ball and keep it in play. He did that against Manchester City in the same area a few seasons ago, and Grealish scored a winner against us. Haaland scored, and these are the things that sometimes we just need to defend properly. Defend properly, head the ball out, give the team a throw in, and you get back, get set, and you live for another day.
Yeah,
Um,
but how many of those times, Ray, does he not have proper protection on the left?
well, the problem was that Timber missed the aerial duel as well. He didn't win the aerial duel. It comes to Gabriel. So you have one mistake with Timber, right? It's not a mistake. He was out. He didn't get to the ball. Gabriel had the chance to put the ball out, kill it right there. Instead, we have a transition 3 against 2, and Bruno Fernandes had a perfect connection on the ball. And XG for Man United was way less than 1 in that game. And they got to the
Southampton
ball.
kept them scoreless for
Yep.
70 plus minutes.
Odegaard, you mean?
We kept we gave up a goal early, but
Yeah.
Southampton today kept Manchester United scoreless for like almost 80 minutes.
82 minutes, yeah, something like that.
So it's
I did.
So
I
like
did.
it's for me, it's our defense has to be perfect, and even then, that could just be a 0-0 game
Yeah.
because we're not going to score. So.
I did think about picking Southampton as the upset pick because Man United had 2 big games against Liverpool and Arsenal. Glad that I picked West Ham and got all 5 points for a win. Tony, Mr. No Pick.
Some of us are done picking.
Loudmouth Football said, I have a feeling Wembo's going to flop at Arsenal if he were to join. I think this is an opportunity.
I don't. Why?
If he came to Arsenal, I think he would grow.
I don't get why people would flop. I mean,
same as Jota. They talk about Diogo Jota being the best finisher in the world.
I don't know what player would come. Any player that has some
Liverpool.
talent come into Arsenal, I don't know why they would fail.
Yeah.
I mean, we've gotten more out of Kai Havertz, and we still think he's got a long way to go to get to where we want, right?
Yeah.
But he's doing better than he was before. So you're not going to not get opportunities to succeed. It's up to you, So
Saliba was deemed world class too. An assessment should be created after 4 seasons or so. No, I think if you see talent in a player, I think 2 seasons is perfectly good amount of time to assess a player over 2 seasons for me.
But with Kai, you had Arteta that totally persisted with playing him in the middle, even though we looked terrible in the middle all year. Kept doing it until Jesus finally got injured. Then he finally got to play up front where he should have been playing all along.
But he's not even really. He's still not even a starter for us. He's not a starter for us.
I didn't.
Martinelli, not a starter for us. Trossard, not a starter for us. I mean,
we
a
can
lot
do
of money
better.
On players that can't really start for us.
We can do better. Yeah.
Like if you're building a team, you're like, all right, I've got Raya, I've got Saliba, I've got Gabriel, I've got Rice, I've got Partey, I got Timber, I got I got Skelly now, all right. I've got Erdegaard.
One area.
I've got Nweri, I've got Saka, and then you're like, I need players that can give me something at that
Extra.
level, right? And
Mhm.
the guys they're playing with aren't right now performing. Like Moreno's not
Yeah.
performing. Calafiori can't stay healthy.
Marino.
Kirior is stuck on the bench, right? They're not going to play him unless one of our center backs gets injured, right?
Uh, yeah.
Like right
we'll
now, they're not playing him, and there's been many probably. I think there's been opportunities maybe to bring him on to play, right?
Probably the best opportunity coming up, Gary, would be the Champions League.
Not the first game.
Well, we have 2 games.
We need to win the first one so we can not take it.
It's Zagreb. There's
Not
2
take it.
teams.
We need
Better
to
get
get the
down
win
there.
first, and then we'll worry about like the last game meaning much, right?
Yeah.
It's a home game, so we should try to win that. And then if we,
Yeah.
we did like we did last season, right? We went away, and it didn't really matter, right?
Stan does not think Sesko's ready, a bit like Rasmus Højlund. Well, I think we're just talking about this. If you didn't think Isak was ready, now we're saying we should have bought him 2 seasons ago. If you don't think Sesko was ready, 2 seasons from now he could be at a different team, prospering and scoring goals.
Well,
Maybe even in the
that's
Premier
your
League.
talent evaluation. So what did you miss in Isak, and are you missing the same thing in Sesko, right? What is Gyökeres missing that you need? Like when they have the tape, they played him. They know what he offers, and he did put pressure on. We just have really good defenders that pretty much stop everybody. So is it a true test? But if he's going against other teams, is it going to be he's not going to go against Saliba and Gabriel on most game days, all right? It's like one of those things where a player would go up against Michael Jordan, and you're like, he's terrible.
Yeah.
But then he would come to the Bulls, for example, and he'd look all right because guess what? He doesn't have to go against them.
So Gary, obviously Isak is a better player than Gyökeres because they've had the test of Gabriel and Saliba, both of them, and Isak has scored twice against Saliba and Gabriel. Gyökeres has not. You know what I mean? So
like I said, it's 150.
Yeah, versus 80.
Can you do that? Can if you went and got Sesko and Gyökeres for less, is that a better use of your money? Now you have a decent backup.
Yeah.
Who may turn into a better Gyökeres, all right? I mean, like you said, if you however they evaluated Isak, if they do the same thing with Sesko, then maybe we'll be looking at the same scenario. But if you get a Gyökeres in already, who's already shown that he can, play some football, and then the money sounds right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you're able to get those 2 players in, and then if it doesn't work, you still can, you can still think about, Isak a year later. So
I think this is a good assessment of world class, right? Mad Football said, in my opinion, you're only world class if you're able to replicate that talent on a consistent basis, which is why players need to exhibit that over at least multiple seasons. I think 2 or 3 seasons can exhibit that. That notion of world class. Stan goes on to say the club drags its feet, and we let Newcastle get the jump on us. And I'm sure wages had some part to play in it as well. You know what I mean?
I don't think his wages are that much.
Well, definitely played part with Gamara's as well. Bruno Gamara's.
But once again, is he worth it for what he offers? I think he is, right?
Yeah. And Gamara's has got to be injured, right? We've not seen him in
if
the
they're willing to spend 300 or almost 300 a week on Kai Havertz, Gamara's is a better talent than Kai Havertz. Isak, better talent. Young when they were going to bring him in. So Yeah, I mean,
There's only
Isak is earning 120K a week. We've got players that are on our bench that are making that much, right?
yeah,
That
yeah.
that can't get off the bench in some cases, or we're going to let them go. So he's not making tons of money. So that would be an Arsenal thing if they brought him in and he said, "Oh, I want 200 or something like that," when he's not worth that much. But you know, yeah.
So there's not a huge amount of talent out there when it comes to strikers, right? We talked about just a few
There are
players.
enough out there. We just said Isak's at the top, and you've got Osman if you want. All right, you
Yeah.
got
Yorkers.
you got Icarus, you got Sesko, you got Jonathan David. I mean, Mamouche was available.
Yeah, City have got
then-
that done.
So
right?
you have there were options out there. Whether they looked into it or not, that's all. The slower you take your time, and you're going to run out of time and run out of options.
And
But there were at least 5 strikers out there that they could pick and choose from. Isak, of course, not coming, but
yeah. So listen, I've got confidence we're going to bring somebody in. It's just what is that player going to be this window? You know what I mean? And what extent? Which store are we going to go shop at? How much money do we have to spend? You know what I mean? Tony, get yourself a drink of water or something. You okay?
I told you what store to go to, right?
What?
I told Ray
You did.
Ray
You
we
did.
need to shop at the duty free store.
Duty free. Well, you got to show your passport. When
what's the duty free store? Who's at that duty-free store?
Luxury items are.
Who's in this duty free store?
yeah,
that
which
we
players
could
which
pick up?
players are available there?
Whatever players you want, the best players.
No, give me a name. You can't tell me go shop somewhere.
It's
and
my
you won't tell-
bazaar.
Yeah, so tell me who's there. Maybe I want to buy, but you're not even giving me.
Gary, to be
show
fair,
your wares, buddy.
Gary. To be fair, you did not give me a name either.
I gave you 5 strikers. What are you talking about?
Which one do you want?
I'll take any of them.
See,
There's 5. Pick one. All right,
Okay.
they all could benefit coming to Arsenal.
okay.
And I gave you the order as well. Isak was first.
did.
Remember?
You did. You went a little bit further than Tony.
I know. I went all the way. I didn't go a little bit further. I gave you the answers and I gave you the preference. Sorry, Tony, but you're slipping here. You're not giving us any answers here.
Come on, Tony.
You have to pay to shop at my store. So
Give the man an answer.
So you don't have anything. I actually think you have nothing in this store. It's just empty. It's just a facade. There's nothing there.
Loudmouth Football said my assessment might be wrong. My assessment might be wrong, but what difference does Declan Rice make vis-a-vis having a Xhaka? Arsenal were better with Partey and Xhaka in the midfield. Xhaka helped Martinelli out a lot. It's quite a statement here, you know. Partey's the common link here. I think when you see Declan Rice play in any kind of midfield with Partey, the difference between Rice and Xhaka is not that much. I think when you're seeing Jorginho and Rice, then you're asking yourself, Partey and Xhaka were better. You know what I mean?
Saka was shit for 7 fucking years.
Right. But the 2 years, we're
He's
talking about
cost
2
us
years.
plenty of Champions League. I don't care if Arteta finally decided, if I move him to be an offensive midfielder, then he doesn't give up red cards. Then he doesn't get sent off. And I'll overload with Zinchenko.
And look, Stan's right. It is a moot point. Xhaka wanted to leave.
Yeah.
And so, like, we are just sort of speculating what.
It's all players always. Everybody knows this. When they know that the door is open, they might play a little bit freer because it doesn't matter. They'll leave it.
Yeah.
And we see that. I mean, he was playing for the next contract, and he just played probably a lot freer. Didn't have all that pressure on him anymore because he knew he was going to be gone.
But
there you go.
Xhaka, I think Xhaka in midfield did give a little bit more to Martinelli Did give a little bit more to the team. Declan Rice is
Yeah,
kind of
it's pretty easy when you're up there.
Well, that's why for
oh,
me,
Declan Rice.
that's why Rice was, if Rice was playing more defensive, that would push Erdogan up. But that's not happening.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I swear, right, 80% of the time he was further up than the striker was.
Who? Xhaka or Rice?
Zaka.
Yeah. Last season, I seem to remember Rice putting up similar numbers to Granit Xhaka last season. He had a really good season. Declan Rice had a really
But
good
you know
season
what?
last season.
But that's the problem. He had a good one, but then our left wing struggled. That's I think we would rather have our left wings be the ones challenging for double digits than our 8 helping getting the same numbers as our previous 8. Right? I mean, and the problem is he just won't make that pass. I mean, he doesn't make that pass. He doesn't progress the ball up the way we want.
Declan Rice?
Yeah.
Get the Kiwi man in. Wood displace Arsenal's Deadwood. Chris Wood is having a good season with Nottingham Forest right now. They have really transformed who they are. Last season they struggled. Liverpool beat them in the last seconds at the City Ground last season. This game we felt would be different and was different. Nottingham Forest getting off to an early start, and Liverpool not able to free up Salah in any way. So
if you're thinking in Bueno, then why wouldn't Wood be also somebody on your list? Wizza would be somebody on your list. I mean, there's more than enough players out there, that wouldn't cost you as much potentially that you could bring in if you checked it out and checked and see if they want to come. All right. So we need more numbers, but they are doing a good job right now. So if we put them into similar situations, they'll do better because they're going to get more opportunities. So.
And look, I think I might have said this earlier, Gary. We have struggled for most of the season. We've struggled. We're still in a position where we are close enough. If we're good enough, we're close enough. Here we go. Loudmouth Football. Listen, this is who we strive to be. Gary has his own show as well. The road trip and the trip. You guys are cool. You should do this more often. This was like a breath of fresh air. Sick and tired of watching content creators and not real quality discussions. Yeah, listen, we have quality discussions. Sometimes Gary and I go at it in animated discussion, and Tony has his beliefs in things. That's all I'd say. You'll have to watch more about Tony as well. You know what I mean? But check out Gary as well. DWTT Arsenal. You'll find them.
The guy that likes to win the season predictions.
So we do enjoy when we get another person joining the community. So Loudmouth Football. Hopefully you stick around, even if you're not an Arsenal fan. But I think you are. There we go. We welcome all, as long as they are civil and don't do bad things in the chat box, right?
Or fall asleep in their bed with a pizza.
Fall asleep.
What is he talking about?
We've been doing this for a number of seasons now, and the idea is to celebrate Arsenal on the road to winning trophies. And, there is shows on Sundays and Thursdays as well. Gary covers Saturdays and Mondays. So that's 4 days out of your week right there. You know what I mean? Filled up. But yeah, there we go. We also have heated topics for sure. It becomes more and more difficult as the team does well, because sometimes when you win games, we talk about the good stuff. Obviously, when you don't win games, we have to talk about the bad stuff. But we're never going to be we're never going to be trolling the wives of players or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Just,
Horrible stuff.
it's so ridiculous that they do it. It's just,
Yeah, and look, we can say Kai Havertz has not been doing the business, but we know he will. He'll pick it up again. He'll start scoring goals. You know what I mean? In hindsight, what do you think about Ramsdale's situation? We saw a dip in form only when Raya was brought to the club. Dip in form from Ramsdale. Well, I don't know. I think
statistically he was very poor in the league.
yes. I was going to say that Southampton game where we drew 3-3. You know, Ramsdale was at least at fault for one of those goals, and I think he didn't bring a sense of domination, a sense of calmness to the back line, and every back line needs a confident goalkeeper who's going to come.
Especially if they're playing it out of the back like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Raya has given up some goals that we actually thought that I actually thought he could have done better on a couple of those shots. You know what I mean?
He has some dips, but he always seems to respond.
Yep.
Right, because even we've seen him give up goals, and then later on he saved us from going behind. So, and he does everything else Arteta wants as well. So it's kind of like you got is every goalkeeper going to make the save? No, I mean teams aren't. Nobody has clean sheets every game. So goals are going to get in there sometimes. So for me, he does the extra stuff on top of the things that he does. I mean, he has made saves. He's a good shot stopper, but he also is, the delivery and stuff like that. He works well with the defense, right? Yeah. I mean, think how many goals are we giving up? And that's from the defense and from him, right? I mean, he made a save in the United match in extra time, right?
Yep.
That's when the defense failed to happen, right? So so he's keeping us in games.
Yeah,
we're not losing because of him. I don't think we're losing because of him.
We've got the best defensive record in the Premier League right now.
Mm-hmm.
And goalkeeper's part of that alongside defenders in front of him. So definitely. Did you think similar things about Ramsdale's situation, Gary? Because Mikel Arteta you can complain about Mikel Arteta, but generally he's made decisions. He's made big calls that have been correct.
The problem is it's selective, right? Like if you like the way that they worked in the goalkeepers since they've been here.
Yeah.
Like they wanted Ray, I think, sooner than later. They've wanted Jorginho sooner than later. They've wanted multiple players that they've looked at, right?
Yeah.
When they don't get them the first time, they lose a year or two before they come back. On the attack, we don't even look. And then if they go, then they're usually gone, all right? So I kind of felt like the way they've brought in a goalkeeper it seems like every other season. We've had 4 starting goalkeepers in this 5.5 years he's been here.
Yeah, I talk about heated discussions, heated topics in recent years. A lot of it was around goalkeepers. And Tony,
and we're going to have to bring in another goalkeeper in the summer.
Yeah, and likely. Tony liked to stir the pot a little bit when it came to goalkeepers as well. Yeah. There was a time when Arsenal fans wanted to bring in Meslier from Leeds. We do have slight Leeds affiliations and links to our channels as well. Maybe it will enrich your life, Loudmouth Football, to know Tom in due course. Maybe a few seasons back, another Frenchman.
Telling him about Tom might run him off, right?
As if you stick around here long enough, you'll meet Tom in the chat box as well. He's a good guy, though. So yeah, listen, Gary, Leandro Trossard. We talked about Gabriel Mega Legs, and then 3 or 4 minutes later, Leandro Trossard. I'm looking at my phone, checking the score. Arsenal's 1-0 down. Next time I check it, Arsenal's 2-1 up. It happened just like that within 5 minutes.
No, but that's the thing. He can do that for us, right?
Yep.
I don't. The thing is, I don't think it's consistent enough, right? So
It is
so
consistent. He just has to play consistent,
it's
Gary.
okay. What did I just say? It's not consistent. You just said he has to play consistent. What?
Listen to me, Gary. He played in the final 10 games last year. He scored 6 goals.
He was good in the
Is that
running.
good enough for you? Is that
Yeah.
consistent enough for you?
It's
It is
streaky.
for
I mean,
me.
this is another part where I know I get what Gary's saying. These are not starters. Trossard's not a starter the way he's playing. Havertz is not a starter the way he's playing. Maybe even Odegaard and Martinelli are not starters the way they're playing because they are patchy. They will score in streaks. And Leandro
That was a
Trossard
purple patch for him with us.
what's that?
That was a purple patch. For
Yeah,
us.
in the run in though. I mean
Yeah.
that counts double.
He did good. He did good at the
Yeah.
end of the season, but I mean, he's been here for a year and a half now, and
He missed that one in Aston Villa.
yeah, so like no, I mean, it's not.
I hope Aston Villa.
He's not played consistently enough first. It was
Yeah.
Jesus getting
Tony.
the starts over him.
Tony, if you're gonna tell me Leandro Trossard's gonna have 9 goals and 4 assists in the remainder of the season, I'll be all about that, Tony. I'll take that. You know what I mean? But that's kind of what we're gonna need from Leandro Trossard to finish this season. The something similar from Kai Havertz and Martinelli as well. You know what I mean? So, but you know, a good finish, Gary. The ball takes a bounce, over the goalkeeper's hand, or you know, you think this poor goalkeeper or a good goal.
Well, I think everybody said it. He should have stopped that goal.
Yeah,
but it did. It was a freak bounce, but that's why you got to get to the ball before it bounces.
We'll take it, and
we're taking that. We're taking that, right? So.
On such things, title races can maybe change. It can be very, very small things, Tony, and something like that. You know, a corner that shouldn't be given to you by all rights if the referees are good enough. We know the standard of refereeing, right? A shot that the goalkeeper should save, but Arsenal get out of there with a 2-1 win.
That was to who's that? Who's that to? Who are you talking to? I thought you were talking
Tony.
to Tony. Okay, so I thought you were talking to Tony. I'm like, hello, McFly. Just sitting there grinning at us.
Sorry.
Say something.
You got all camera shy all of a sudden.
Trying not to cough again.
You need that water, Tony. Go get some water.
Oh,
Gary,
case of water.
Gary, these are the fine margins, right? Liverpool have had a couple of good weekends. Arsenal dropped points. Liverpool have taken advantage. They've done that August to November. Now they've slowed up a little bit in the last 6 weeks, right?
I think it's just the nature of the Premier League, right? They've been squeaking out some wins and stuff like that. Eventually, it comes back. You know, if you play a good game, another team plays a better game, then it's all right. But when you're like not playing as well and you're able to, score late and steal it, which they've been able to do multiple times, sometimes come back to haunt you. So that's what it looked like, and it is. And we're finding out in the Premier League anybody can beat anybody. All right.
Yeah.
So
as Tiger and Gunnar said, João Pedro shouldn't have been given a penalty. I can sort of, I don't know, like the media, the coverage of it maybe convinces me a little bit that was a challenge.
Which penalty? I forget. What was the scenario?
João Pedro flicks Brighton, flicks it up. Saliba goes for the header, and there's a clash of heads. The penalty, Yeah.
Well, no. I mean, once again, it's one of those. Nobody's seen that before. They'll tell you it's in the rule book, but they'll also tell you you don't see that. You never see that called.
It's always Arsenal.
It's a 50-50 ball up there. There's going to be a collision, right? So.
Why? It's always Arsenal, and Gary, they hate us because they ain't us.
For sure.
And Now there's got to be a VAR check on corner kicks, right? People are saying these things. It's ridiculous.
And then what is it? Liverpool scores on a penalty kick where
Yeah.
they grabbing the goalkeeper, I think.
Corner where the goalkeeper's being blocked
Okay.
off.
Yeah.
As many
That's okay though.
as many free kicks as we've scored, we're still not the top of the league in goals
Alonso will be
scored.
back to close out the show.
That has nothing to do with our, but that's because we can't finish our dinner. That's nothing, That's just part of the game where we score on the free kicks. That's all. Because we get many of our shots blocked, which turns into corners. So we're always sitting in double-digit corners per game, right? So it gives you even more options to score off of them. So just the nature of how we play, how we're playing. So that's why we need more. You need better numbers, better plays, or I keep saying it. Somehow they need to get Martin to take shots so he can get into the flow and get. I believe he can shoot a football. He can strike a football.
We've seen it.
So I don't understand why he doesn't.
A whole 2 years ago, he had 10 in the league. 15
Listen, we've seen it, Tony.
Yeah.
We know it happens. We've seen it out there. Gary Neville finds your set piece coach annoying. He's stealing Arteta's limelight, especially during those 10 set piece goals. You can't instruct anything.
Why does he care?
Yeah.
We run our club the way we want to run our club. If Arteta didn't like Jover getting up, he would have told him, "Don't get up." But guess what? He don't care.
We know
that's not an issue for us. So I don't understand. Like, why do you care how we run our club? Do you know how to run a club, Gary Neville?
Gary Neville, yeah.
Does he know how to run a club?
Gary Little.
Yeah, I don't know if he does. I don't think he knows. But you know what?
Oh no, he tried. He tried with Valencia. It didn't go so well.
Oh, it didn't go so well. All
Yeah.
right. So, like I said, they're just like trying to. They have to put. It's one of those things where you keep your name out. Keep my name out your mouth, kind of thing. They just like to say Arsenal. It brings clicks. It brings visceral. It brings happiness. It brings anything. So just use Arsenal anywhere in a sentence. If you're a football pundit, and you will get clicks. People will want to listen.
Yeah. Listen, I think it's just pure jealousy, and Loudmouth Football's right there with us. Valencia, he tried. I think it's just pure jealousy from a generation ago. This Arsenal team is better than his Manchester United team right now. Carragher, I think, might feel the same way deep down that this Arsenal team, if it puts his act together, we can beat Liverpool to this title if we get our act together. This title depends on us. The title depends on Arsenal, Tony.
I was going to shake that Man U tree and say at the ripe old age of 80 at the end of this year, who should retire? Right? Wayne Rooney. No more managing as an 80-year-old.
Okay.
You said
This is
80.
what you're
I'm like, you said at the ripe old age of 80, so that
80,
threw
yeah.
me off.
Have you looked how old he looks, Gary?
Loudmouth Football. This is Tony. Tony's showing you who he is.
Just talking
now.
nonsense, not making any sense.
Nonsense.
That made no sense what you said, Tony.
Have you looked at it?
I tried to listen to what you said, and it doesn't make any sense to me.
Do you know what Tony does? He grabs your attention, and you're like, okay, he might actually say something here. And then he comes out with something completely cryptic. Tony does. Oh, man, Tony, you're funny. Urian Timmer, your thoughts on him when fully fit? Who would you start ahead, White or Timber? Haha, Gary, I think I know what you might say on this one. Do you want me to go to Tony first?
I still would play Timber on the left. I think he's
okay. Timber off the left.
I feel like Skelly is doing a good job until they can move him.
All right. Let me just say this one. Tony, who's the better defender?
What, Timber or
White?
Timber. Timber.
Yeah, I think we're all Timber fans here.
I'm shivering my timbers right now.
Shiver your timbers. Gary, we liked Urian Timber for 45 minutes last season against Nottingham Forest
Yeah, we
and
did.
the Charity Shield, right?
We did. We did
Unfortunately,
like
he
it.
was out injured last season for most of the season.
No, we like him. Yeah, no, it's good. Arteta's gonna have a challenge on his hands because depending on what he decides to do, if Calafiori is a center back, he's going to be allowed to play center back. Which I think that's what he's supposed to. That's supposedly his trademark, right? He can play center back, but he's not getting that chance because we have to play Saliba and Gabriel. And I think we're going to be in that same situation again.
Yes,
like we were with Saka.
Yes,
you're not playing these players. They're not getting acclimated to playing together and playing in the system. Then when you need them, they're going to be learning for the first time.
Yeah.
So I just kind of felt like we should be able to rotate our plays for some games. They don't.
It's a game of fine margins. The fine margins are not in our favor right now.
Well, you know what? That's why you rotate from day one. You don't just rotate out of necessity every time.
I think we've been doing that this season, though.
No, but because we didn't do it early enough. Like in where he should have been playing since the third game of the season.
Yeah, listen, I'll give you Nwari. I'll agree with that one.
You bring Calafiori in, and he's a center back. When's he played center back for Arsenal?
Yeah,
you're telling me when we won how many matches? We won matches, right?
But let's not forget red cards, suspensions have come into play as well the first half of the season, and that stretched us. Injuries, red cards, suspensions. Those are the things that have killed us this season. I feel like in another week or two, we'll be getting some players back from the injury list. I think I saw something where Calafiori and a couple of other players have come back. Tommy Asu's coming back. They trained today. So, maybe our injury list will shorten pretty soon. Tony, you okay?
Yeah, just coughing.
That's all. Just coughing. So listen, that's Urian Timber. Gary, Tony and I were talking about Miles Lewis Skelly.
Yep.
What do you got to say about him? Yes,
I like him. He's strong.
He's
strong. He's strong.
Right?
I mean, you can see why he's destined for the midfield, right? I mean, just think about it. I mean, if the summer is what we think it is, right, and if Zubimendi does come in, you had Zubimendi, Skelly, and Erdogan as your starting midfield.
Yep.
I know people are like, "Where's Rice?" He's 100 mil, but does he fit the what's his role?
Left wing, left 8.
And that's coming off the bench, right? He's not. Like the things that Skelly does, I don't see Rice doing that enough, right?
Yeah. The problem is with Rice, they don't want to seem to decide if he's a 6 or an 8. Yeah. They need to pick one and stick with it.
Yeah, but as you know, Arteta likes versatile players. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, think about it. Skelly is supposed to be a really good midfielder. He seems to be a really good left back, right? Rice is what? A 6? He's not playing a 6 like Partey. An 8? He doesn't play an 8 like, what we want, right? So what is he? He's not an attacking mid.
He's more of a 6.
So he's more of a 6. But then you know what? We need either somebody to play next to him, or we need somebody to take on that role that Partey does in terms of progressing the ball up the pitch. Like Partey is the one that intercepted the ball and made the pass that got Trossard open, right?
Yep.
Like, do we see that from Rice?
Not so much this season.
Yeah.
We did a couple of times last season.
But consistently, is it something that he's known for doing.
Yeah, Partey's been so good at doing that this season. I know against Southampton at home, he transitioned the ball as well for Havertz to score.
Yeah.
So he's done it more than once this season. And Partey has been probably a very pleasant surprise this season, Thomas
Yeah,
Partey.
and that's why he should not be playing right back. That's why he got him healthy, and you're playing him right back, killing your midfield, and then we're struggling to progress the ball through our midfield because he's the one that can do it better than most. So I kind of felt like, hopefully he doesn't hit your max velocity kind of thing.
Yeah. I think we need to keep Partey as fresh as possible. DX said we're still without an established left back if you don't count Tierney. Maybe Miles Lewis-Skelly is not what you call an established left back, but he's doing a pretty damn good job.
What is he doing wrong at
He's
left
doing
back?
a pretty good damn job of it.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Gary.
Yeah, so I'm like, what is he doing that leads you to believe like he's not playing the left back position well?
No, I think he's being managed and coached very well in the defensive side of the game. And I think probably Gabriel has helped him a little bit as well.
I don't think so because he's going one-on-one on these attackers, and Gabriel wasn't. And when they come and they lean on him, it does not affect him at all. So I hear what you're saying that he's getting support, but why wouldn't he be protecting Calafiori as well? Because Calafiori's still a young player for his for this team.
Yeah.
So he hasn't really played enough football to say, well, he's established. He's just been injured. No, he's been injured as a young player in football. So I think if he's going to support Skelly, he should be supporting Calafiori because he also needs it. Timber, I don't think he has to help him out when he plays on the left, right? Tomiyasu, I don't think he has to support him either. Tierney, of course, he doesn't, right? So I kind of feel like we've got some established players, even though I think Tierney will be gone soon, right?
Man, you have a plethora of quality on the flanks. Miles Lewis-Skelly, the solid left back. He's 18. Prodigal son of Bukayo Saka. I think Bukayo Saka has probably helped him, on the training field and stuff like that. Recognizing he's a talent that come through the ranks as well, So he has just done, at the start of the season, if I told you Miles Lewis-Skelly would have a bigger impact than maybe Emery, you might have laughed or chuckled.
That's because he played. Because we've had more injuries.
Yep.
We didn't have injuries. We didn't have those significant injuries when Emery should have been playing. And you know what? He was so hell bent on Trossard and Kai Havertz playing in that role than he was in Wary, who supposedly are number 2 in that position.
Yeah, the understudy.
Right. So even if he wasn't going to play every game, and then the thing is, it isn't even that I needed him to start. I just needed him to play. Like if Erdegaard is out for a month and a half, whatever it was, 2 months or whatever it was, then Wary should have had more minutes, right?
Yeah, it was at least 2 months. He was out.
And Wary didn't get enough minutes. He just played in mostly the cup games and barely got a touch in the Premier League matches when we were struggling.
One of the biggest missteps, let's say, in our league season so far was not putting Emery into that position because when you get into the run-in, the last 10 games, there's no way you're taking chances with the team. There's no way you're going to roll the dice. There's no way you're going to put Ethan Emery in there as your principal player. But at the start of the season, in the first 10 games, first 15 games, then you can throw him in.
But it was the way you had set up your squad. You said your squad is small, and you have a player that you rather play somebody out of their position than play a player in their position. I don't get that.
It's just,
and everything we've seen from Emery doesn't say, oh, you know what, it's not going to work out.
Yeah.
Right. and
He
so-
just saw Arteta just saw that risk adverse thing as a drop off,
and
perceived
it's
drop
hurt.
off.
But that means why do you? So then he shouldn't have been here. If you're at the point where you know what, Erdegaard's going to go out for 2 months, I won't play you. He's got to go. All right,
Yeah,
you have to go. Like Zinchenko, we're not playing him. He should be gone by now. You got to wait till the end of the window for what reason I don't know, and let him go. I mean, Skelly has
yeah, we got
that
we got-
position locked up. You know, if Tomiyasu does get back healthy, you know, you've got another player there. You know, if you really want to let Tierney go, let him go. If not, you hold on
Yeah.
to him. And then
we got Tierney possibly going to Celtic, Gary, and Zinchenko possibly going to Dortmund. You know, Loud Night Football said, "Give this Arsenal side to Pep Guardiola." Well, Pep's got enough. Unfortunately, Pep's got a lot of problems right now. You know, on and off the field. Marino's a passenger. In fact, Arteta's confused with his usage. I think that Marino needs a little bit more time. I think we need to give him a little bit more time. Maybe some of his talents are not easily seen on the field.
There's
as
a
well.
reason he's a journeyman.
And listen, I said about the last summer being adding to the depth. I think Marino, as Gary has phrased it tonight, maybe not specifically to Marino, he's not a starter. He's not a starter in the team. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
He's supposed to be there for depth, play 15, 20 games a season. I think Edu and Mikel fell out over the Marino purchase. Wow, I mean, Edu's leaving for a reason. I don't know if there's any ill will there, but Edu was leaving. He's not a bad player. He's just been used in the wrong manner and system. BX, I happen to think you might be right there. You know, just
Yeah, I've asked people to tell me what does it look like when he's playing in the right system, in the right position, the right role? What does that look like? And I don't feel like I've gotten an answer that I can remember. So I don't know, you know, what he does.
I mean, I'm not that I'm the best place to give you the answer, but I would go ahead,
I
Tony.
think-
You want to go first?
I think when you've played with 6 to 8 teams and you're at that age, that means there's a reason you're a journeyman.
No, but what I'm saying is, and that's the thing,
No, I got
you're
what
telling
you're
me
saying.
why.
Can be a
why-
journeyman, but what's his role?
Well, yeah, like what is his? How are teams going to get the best use out of him?
I have no idea.
Yeah, so that's the problem. Nobody really can give me an answer. They just tell me all the negative sides of it, and I'm like, no.
I
But what
think
is he? Why did we bring him in? Why?
I think he's pretty good. I think he's pretty good as a pressing player in midfield, and he is able to exert pressure on the ball and
okay. Here's one
recycle
example. Right,
it that way, huh?
Yeah, yesterday, Arteta made subs right before a corner, which you know most teams don't do.
Dangerous. Yeah.
Who made the header to clear it?
I can't tell you who was it.
We're just talking about him.
Marino.
Yeah.
So that's
Arteta,
not bad, right?
So in the air, he's supposed to be really good.
Okay.
But you know.
So, I mean that's a good substitution at the end of the game where you're kind of holding on a little bit, albeit never really under pressure. Stan said, "What's the future for? Is this Fabio Vieira or Teabag?"
I don't know anybody named Teabag.
It's the same person, Gary.
Teabag.
I don't know anybody named
Fabio.
Teabag. Okay.
Alonso, how are you doing?
Good.
All right. You made it for the last 15, 20 minutes probably.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit longer. Who knows?
Yeah,
We'll
just
see how far we can go.
Tell
Fabio-
Gary to accept the name Teabag.
That's not his name. Mama didn't call him Teabag, so
He likes being called Teabag, though, Gary.
No, it doesn't.
If he doesn't
Nobody-
have a problem with it, then
he's either being nice or he doesn't want people to, you know. But no, where he's at for a reason. Has he looked good? Has he learned anything? Has he gotten better? You know.
No.
So so
Um,
it was good to get him out of the house, but it didn't really help him any.
yeah. I what we did you say we have Nelson as a loan as well?
Yeah,
At
he's out
Fulham?
on loan. Yeah,
Okay.
no, he would have been good to come in. We've seen him actually perform, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I wonder how many minutes Nelson would have gotten.
Uh,
You know.
I just think we've got the best we're gonna get out of tea bag, and it's time to move on. We went into that Portugal well way too many times, and we really didn't get any winners in the end.
too many times. How many Portuguese players have we brought in?
Okay.
Uh,
Hey, brother, can you respond to my comment above about Vieira?
Hey,
No.
Let's
brother.
see. Where was that?
Didn't we just
Find
do
a
that?
baller. There we go. Yeah. Listen, you come to a channel where we will highlight your comments.
No.
No
Okay.
super chats in here.
Yeah.
Find a baller like Vieira who hasn't physically adapted to the league. Neither is a good defender or a counter presser. Is a question mark over the club's recruitment. Yeah, I didn't use Alonso. I'll go to you first since you just joined us. I didn't used to like the comparison with Vieira when people talked about him being physically ready for the Premier League, but I guess it's hard to argue that as well, right?
Yeah, especially coming from Portuguese league. I don't know much about it, but I know that there's talent there. I don't think he just didn't really have it because he wasn't used to physicality of the Premier League. Either you have it, either you have it or you don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And we tried, Arteta tried to put him in different positions, and it just didn't work out for him. Unfortunately, you saw maybe glimpses of talent. It's hard the nice assist to I think it was Gabriel Martinelli. At
Mm-hmm.
times you saw him make good goals, but it wasn't
Yeah,
constant enough to have a certain position.
yeah,
So we had to deal with that as well. So he just lost his spot really, and it's a shame it
yeah,
didn't work out. I think a lot of people wanted him to at least be a good player enough to where he could maybe start to be on a certain living. But it just didn't work out because he had a lot of players that were ahead of him as far as getting more playing time.
yeah. Yeah, listen, just by you saying all that stuff, Alonso, I just thinking I've got a highlight reel in my head of Fabio Vieira, and two of them were breakaway goals. The one up at Villa Park for Gabriel Martinelli's last fourth goal against Unai Emery. The one with against Man United again on a breakaway, where Gabriel Jesus goes around Dalot at
Mhm.
Manchester United, and the third one is probably that goal against Brentford. So a really great goal, but not a lot of stuff displayed over the time he was at Arsenal and not consistent enough. And probably not the way we usually play, where we have more possession. And Tony, the highlight reel that I've just relayed to you are all like counterattacking with lots of space in front, where Fabio Vieira could probably prosper.
yeah, I mean, the way we play, we're set up to be able to play the counter like that. We don't for whatever reasons, and the heir definitely isn't in our long term plans. He's never to be stout enough to hold up to the Premier League, and
Yeah.
that's why he'll get his papers pretty soon. So
Yeah, so listen, a question mark over clubs recruitment. Loudmouth Football says so. We can't disagree with that. With Fabio Rivera, you listen. I think not every transfer is going to be a raging success. You get more than most, though. It's not going to be bad. You
uh,
know what I mean?
uh,
Gary, what was your Tony? You got anything else on Vieira?
it's not on Vieira, it's actually on Rice. But how more years on him do you give before you say that deal was success? successful or not because he's been very
Wow.
very disappointing this year.
Declan Rice is a little bit different because he's not going. You're not going to be quantifying his Arsenal career on goals and assists per se, in the way that you would with Fabio Vieira. You know, it's a different section of midfield. You might rate it on his performances. Last season, I think Declan Rice lived up to his price tag, and this season, he's probably had some issues catching up in fitness. I'll go to Gary on Vieira, and if you have anything else to say about Rice, Gary.
Yeah, no. I mean, Vieira was brought in off of half a season. The starter was was sold mid-season.
Yeah.
He came in, he continued to perform, and I think that's the basis for why we brought him in. He doesn't have a good body of work, which is like, so they took a risk on him. They spent a lot of money on him, but he didn't have, like we're talking about, not wanting to put money on Gyökeres, not wanting to put money on Sesko. They actually have a decent body of work to go on that you can actually evaluate and say, does he have what we need? Vieira didn't have much half a season as a starter when he played, when we brought him in, and then he was injured. So, that was that was definitely the bad recruitment. And it was them taking a risk, an expensive risk, right? When they take risks, it never works, right? They spend a little bit more money and get the player that fits the mold that they want. They usually get what they need, right? I think in most cases they get it right, or they figure out a way to utilize them. So, yeah, I don't think Rice, and on the Rice note, I don't think he ever came back from the European Championships.
Yeah.
I think they rushed him back, and he hasn't really been able to get back into any kind of form. And then he gets suspended and all that kind of stuff. Then I think he was out for an injury at some point. I mean, broken toe, whatever it was. I think he just hasn't really had an opportunity to, I think they're saying that now, since we're not in the EFL Cup, that we're going to be able to take that Dubai trip or whatever. And so we might be able to come back from that refreshed and ready to go. But yeah, Rice hasn't been, I don't think he's, like, once again, I think when teams were sitting out their starters at the beginning of the year, and Arteta just rushed all theirs in, it comes back to haunt him.
Well, if you think about it too, Gary, like he hasn't had really good for like about a month and a half, seems like. So
that's an excuse.
Well, I'm just saying, Gary. I mean, that's what I think happens. Like, you have all these midfielders trying to conglomerate the midfield, and he hasn't really had his partner there with him throughout the year. And then you have Partey playing right back at the time too. So
Saka's not had any kind of continuity behind him and next to him, and he's performed. So it's at some point you're gonna have to work through it. So I hear what you're saying, but not now. We need you still need to be able to perform.
Yeah.
There's still some things you can do to get the job done.
I don't think Rice has been that bad this year at all. I think he's been playing, like you said, playing through a broken toe, and he still hasn't been up to his full best yet. So I think there's something to look forward to with him. I think Rice is very good, actually.
I think he looked to have had a better game yesterday at Declan Rice. So hopefully, like I said, I'm always going to look at the embers of a fire that can start, and I think this Arsenal team needs it. We got to talk about Villa coming up as well. Are you guys on PST or EST? I'm on the Eastern Standard Time over here. Gary also. So, and Alonso, you're Central or
Central Time?
You're Central Time. Okay. Out of the middle of the country, and Tony's on Central Time as well.
Tony's on some weird time. It's not like it's not a time zone anybody is aware of.
That camera just looks so weird the way it like zooms in and finds you wherever you go, Tony. That camera.
It's because I use a wide angle camera so they can crop it as needed and find
Yeah.
below me.
Now that football talking about Wisa being maybe better than Buemo, but Buemo's a tremendous finisher. They both weighed in with 19 or 20 goals this season from Brentford. So Thomas Frank, he might be able to hold the posse off this window, but in the summer, one or two of those players are going to be moving. Yeah, random insertion does sound like a one night stand. Um, sense the tinge of sarcasm. Regardless, I wanted to share this Arsenal average 1.75 expected goals per Premier League game in this season, down on the figures from last season of 2.04 and 2022-23 1.9. Yeah, so that's some interesting figures there. Our expected goals have gone down, you know. It means we're not creating the chances, the level of chance that you would expect to prosper on. Regardless, we have been shy in converting such expected goals. I think, regardless of the results per 90, y'all are on a path of regression. Football doesn't look that sharp. Kudos to you for winning and being second, but I still feel Arteta's derailed. So, yeah, loudmouth football may be a rival. We've definitely regressed a bit. And a welcome rival at that. Tony is down under time. Yeah. T-Bag left Portugal as the highest assists in his last season. Yeah, as Gary was saying, he had a great great 6 months before he left. Probably one of those perspectives that transfers that didn't really come off for us. Think about Arteta. Let's talk about Arteta very quickly. The whole thing about the football was kind of irritating last week. I'm a supporter of Mikel Arteta, but the way he gets drawn into silly narratives that our rivals try to banter us with, he needs to be a little bit more clever about these things, in my opinion. Because he's talking about football being different. You know what I mean? It's a nothing question.
I didn't see that part.
Yeah. They're talking about this in the EFL Cup. A reporter is like, and the ball is very different. You're going to be playing with a different ball.
All right.
It's just ridiculous. Yeah, look.
Yeah, I missed the Arsenal Manchester United game. I was at work, so I didn't really watch. I didn't even watch it. But I saw. I was keeping up with the highlights and what was going on, but unfortunately, it's just. I guess I missed out on the other discussion about how they lost or whatnot.
Here's my take. We know from the All or Nothing documentary, Mikel Arteta doesn't like press conferences.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks they're pointless. He wants to get out there and he wants to get on with his day. I just think sometimes he doesn't say the right thing at the right time or place.
Bill Belichick, for the Patriots either, and he gives short ones and be done with it.
Yeah.
Have fun with it a little bit. I mean, you don't give them much there. I've never understood why you have to be available to the media all the time. I know the NBA is that way. To me, I don't think you should have to talk.
Well, the reason why they have to
game.
is because who pays the bills?
Yeah.
That's why. Like we talk about it all the time. All these sports. What is it about the sports? Well, it's because the TV money. Where do you think that TV money comes from? All right. Why? I mean, you're asking why they have to do the things. Why? Because they're making money from TV. They make tons of money they make most of their money from TV. A lot of teams. So they need to. That's why they have to accommodate.
Yeah.
Yes, the media. That's what you have to do. People want to hear it. That's why they have to do it. It's part like it's how you get paid. At the end of the day, indirectly or directly, it's still how you get paid.
The level of
I just say to Stan. I just checked. He wasn't the leading assistant player in Portugal. He wasn't even the leading assist player for his own team. So
third, right?
He was second on his team, but I don't know what he was in the league. But
I think probably third.
He had a really good. It was a really good stat, but he wasn't
something
even
like
the best
11
on his team. So
something like 11 assists for.
But like I said, that was like his body of work wasn't as much. The starter was gone at halfway through. I'm not sure. What I think his numbers are in that second half of the season. That probably after he got more starting gigs.
Can we just say he's Danny Ceballos 2.0?
He's not that good.
Danny Ceballos ended up in Madrid.
Yeah, I mean, he's not that good. So as much as you want to say he's Danny Ceballos, he's not playing for Real Madrid. He's not coming on and playing for Real Madrid. He can't even come on and play for us. How's he going to come on? You know what I mean? Like, how's that going to work?
You can say Danny Suarez, the guy from Barcelona that Emery got in. Remember him? He would play for Barcelona. And he came to Arsenal was crap.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, Gary, what do you think about Mikel Arteta in press conferences?
Sometimes he gives up too much information that just people use against him, and other times he's cryptic. So it's like, why do we even listen to it?
Well,
he doesn't want to tell us stuff, but he shows it to us, and then when we ask him about it, he doesn't want to talk about it. It's like, we just saw you do it. Can you elaborate on it? Blah, 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 So it's not worth, is it worth our time to listen to his interviews? No.
Gary, he's asked me to tutor him in that.
What?
He asked who?
Me.
Who? No, say it again, because I thought you said you, and it doesn't make any sense.
That was 20 minutes ago, Tony.
Me and the cryptic. You're always saying
you're nonsense. It's not cryptic. It's just like, what? There's a big difference then. You're just trying to play tricks on me.
Yeah, definitely, Alonso, one of the worst January loans Arsenal have ever had. You know what I mean? Dennis Suarez was.
Yeah, he was hurt when he came to Arsenal too, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I some people think Vlahovic might be a good loan for this window, but I don't know about Vlahovic. I'm not convinced about him either. You know what I mean?
I figure if he's available in the winter, then that would probably mean we'd have to buy him in the summer. So
Vlahovic.
Yeah.
So
you get him on a loan, and you can test the waters. I don't think anybody wants to. I think Arsenal wants to take out loans on players and with just options to buy. And teams aren't for that, even though they're bringing in replacements. So I don't know why Arsenal should have to pay a full amount for a player that you don't want. It's the same thing that happens to Arsenal, right? You saw it all the time. The player goes out on loan. We know they're coming back. Well, if he has a good showing.
Vlahovic needs 5 shots to score 1, so
that's no different than what we got going on right now. He fits right in.
I was going to say
the odds might go up, though.
I was going to say we might say yes to Vlahovic on that ratio.
I mean, think about it. We scored 1 goal from an attacker in in the last 2 matches, in the last 3 matches.
Yeah, that's why we want to put Gabriel Mega Legs up there, up front, to be our striker.
Yeah, he has to just hit his headers. He'll be all right.
We had that prediction podcast, Brazilians versus the English. Maybe the Brazilians are winning right now.
They just look at me.
I have to check back on that one about what's happening. I still thought Ceballos was decent. Yeah, he was decent with us. He scored in the quarterfinal of the FA Cup against Sheffield United. We went on to win the FA Cup. Went on to win the FA Cup that year. I still thought Ceballos was decent. I'm a standing target fire your shots. Listen, Liverpool. I think the guys here slag me off for thinking of Liverpool as almost a sister team as well to Arsenal. So I do have respect for Liverpool
Tobias
because
had just some bad
oh,
memories for us, Ceballos. Like
Sabias,
in the Europa League,
yeah.
he had a bad day, bad showing there. I don't even know if he played after that, but yeah, didn't work out.
Awful that Jesus is down with the ACL. He's quality. It'll take a full year. I know Gary mentioned earlier, I think, or Tony. It'll take a full year for him to come back, and then I think we have to move him on in January, next January. You know what I
By
mean?
the end of his contract, it's coming up pretty
Yeah,
soon.
maybe. I don't know how long his contract is gone. Nick Fadley has joined the house. Come on in. Thanks for being here. Yeah, Ray is. I'm not exactly Liverpool, but they're the least hated of all teams, least rival.
That he has Liverpool sheets. Let's just say that.
I dislike Man City and Chelsea and Newcastle for being plastic. Manchester United are so outside of Tottenham. Manchester United is the next team that I look for
Will
to
you
be.
clarify to Gary that you have a Liverpool duvet cover?
I do not.
TV color, and he's got the Liverpool shower cap because he doesn't want to get his hair wet. Just letting you know.
You're terrible. You're terrible. You're a bad man, Gary. You're a bad man. All right. So let's wrap up the North London Derby yesterday, Gary. It felt like momentum. It felt like a momentum starter or a fire starter. Got that
Yeah,
sound in
well,
my
no,
head.
I mean it's we all expected to win, right?
Yeah.
Expected to win that one, so we made it a little bit more challenging than we needed to. It should have been a more comfortable match, but it was like I said, we were consistent. We're just gonna miss some shots, and this time around, some of the shots we took, we scored on. All right,
Yep.
so we
At
were able to
least two of them.
got a header in front of the goal, and it just happened to get pushed in. Right.
Yep.
Whereas in in that other parts of in other games, their header's just not getting on, and then got a one.
Thank you, Solanke.
One open play goal, right?
Yep.
And someone will say we got lucky. Did we get lucky? If we got lucky, that's what happens. You got but the problem is you still got to put the ball on target. All right.
If we got lucky, there hasn't been a lot of luck for Arsenal. So if we got lucky, it's turning around. Good for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my great plan is going to come to fruition if that's what's happening. Because Liverpool have gotten out in front on the back of winning big games at home.
Mm-hmm.
We won a big game at our home to get a double against that Tottenham team. A lot of momentum carrying on for this win.
For sure. I think that the way, whenever, Son scored his goal, I kind of glad that if it was going to be a goal, it was early enough to where Arsenal can come back and, tie it or at least win the game. So I think it kind of shows you that Arsenal, though down a goal, can come back and win. And I think that's the kind of Arsenal that we needed throughout the draws they had, right? So, I think it's a big testimony of how good we could be under pressure against an arch rival like Tottenham. So, this is momentum builder for sure, especially for a guy like Leandro Trossard that, he's been kind of down and out lately with scoring goals. But yesterday scored a massive goal for Arsenal. So, it's a momentum builder for players that usually have been not playing that good lately. So, with all those factors in, I think this is a big momentum builder for sure. And we'll see what happens with the rest of the way, but I think it'll be a good game for us to win yesterday. So, yeah, I mean, moving forward, I think we could make Liverpool run for our money.
Yeah, I don't think we're far away from Ange having an Antonio Conte type of press conference talking about his players.
He's putting it on. He's putting it on himself, though. You know.
Yeah, I mean he has a style of play he's not willing to drift away from. You know what I mean? So definitely he's putting it on himself. You know what I mean? Tony,
Who's the worst team, United or Spurs?
On a scale from 1 to 10, but first.
The fuck was that?
That was me. I thought I had my
oh, it was you.
computer
Okay.
on.
That Tottenham team is worse than Man United. I fear that Ruben Amorim is going to be around long enough to make United a decent team. You know what I mean?
Can we explore what kinky shit Gary was listening to there? I mean,
Jesus Christ.
I don't think it was anything to be concerned about, Tony. Talk to me about the momentum building with Arsenal, Tony.
I mean, these teams like this, you have to use it because you know you're gonna beat them, but you still have to go out there and do the work. So it builds. Anytime you win, it's building the mentality. So
Right, I gotta check what Steven's saying here. Only 2 wins against top 10 clubs is a bad state of. Yeah, we've beaten Forest and we've beaten Villa in the top 10. So we did the double over Tottenham, so that's where we're at. But I will say we've got a number of draws away from home. We have to play City, Chelsea, Bournemouth, Newcastle. And coming up on Saturday, Aston Villa at home. So we have a number of tests coming up at home now. Tony, go ahead.
I was done after we finished our tour of London. Is that the end of our tour?
No, we have a couple more games in London. The next one up will be Aston Villa. We play some Champions League games. And then we go to Wolverhampton Wanderers away. So that might be the end.
How the fuck did that happen? 12 out of 13. I've never seen that.
I don't know. I think the fixture list has been weird this season because I will say that Liverpool have had the big teams at home in the first half of the season, and Arsenal have had the majority of the big teams away from home. And in that is my thoughts that we can bring the 7-point gap back to a point where we're going to go to Anfield with something to play for. You know what I mean?
Can I let you in on a secret, Ray?
Yep.
We play everybody twice, home and away.
Yeah, so that's
you
what I'm
think
saying.
You think it means absolutely no difference when you play them at home and when you play them away? So you're going to try and tell us? It doesn't. Is that what you're going to try to say? You can't because you know that's not true. Home field advantage versus playing on the road not the same. It is not the same.
What did you say? Playing 12 of 13 in London's home field advantage.
We played away in those games.
Right?
It just happened to be in London. We played some of them away from home.
There's a lot more teams there's a lot more teams in London than there are in many of the other cities in England.
Yes.
So yeah, you're gonna play more teams in London anyways, just because of the nature of the structure of the squads.
19
but
games.
There is a difference between playing at home and playing away. There is.
He said it himself anyway, Gary. We play each team twice,
No, that's not what he said. He didn't say what I said. He just said some nonsense.
I said we play everybody twice. That's where I was starting.
Yeah, but that's not what the discussion was.
Was it Lieutenant Dan?
It went twice. We had
Was that the
39
discussion we had in town?
games.
Ray's point was we played a lot of teams on the road, especially the top part of the table on the road.
Yes. Yes.
That is a difference than playing them at home.
Yes.
Wait, isn't there 38 games for the season, right? Or 39 games.
38.
So we played two teams once.
What?
No,
You play every team
we
twice.
play
There's
all-
19 teams you play them twice.
We play all the teams twice.
I thought. Okay.
Right.
19 times 2 equals 38.
You're not
Tony's
making any
in the-
sense, Tony.
Tony's right. I don't want to live in a world where Tony's right.
He's not right about what we're talking about. He just
He
changed
said-
the subject.
He
You were
said
talking
nine-
about oranges. He's talking
But-
about pears, and you're like,
Tony-
"Oh, it's the same conversation." No, it's not the same
Is
conversation.
2 times 19 38 as well, Tony?
Just know we play everybody twice, right?
Yes, but
That wasn't the
the-
point of the discussion. He just made something up.
the strength of the schedule, Tony. Talk about that. The strength of the schedule. The strength of the fixtures.
It's still home and away.
Do you think? Here we go. You can answer this yes or no. And I don't want any explanation. Is it harder to play City, or not City, Liverpool at their place or at your place?
Where do you think?
It says yes or
Where
no
do you
answer. Just
Yes,
remember what Forest
Yeah.
did, right?
Remember.
Where did Forest beat Liverpool? Do you remember that, Tony? No, you don't want to answer that question.
I
You
already
done-
said.
you-
You
Where
don't
did
answer.
Where did Forest beat Liverpool this season? Do you remember where that game was played?
I don't pay attention.
Oh, you don't
to
pay
those
attention,
things.
all so now you don't even know anything about
No.
stats, but you're going to bring up this nonsense about,
Um,
about 2 games a season.
right. Stephen, yes, it's only 2 games against top 10. It is a bad state. Yeah, and I took the heat off Tony a little bit there, didn't I? I'm sorry. We cooked him enough, didn't we? You know, his tail was starting to curl.
No.
He was getting cooked so much.
It's funny because Gary will ask me a question. He wants her to answer it.
Well, he won't answer it because usually when he doesn't answer it, folks, that means I'm right.
Yes,
and
yes.
He doesn't want to answer it. He'll just change the subject to something
Take
else.
Take it as read.
Yeah,
you-
but
but-
Ray's been talking about this all year.
Ray just told you we played a top half of the table, most of them on the road, and then you bring up, but we played both teams. We played teams twice.
Then
That's
I
not what
also
he
brought
said.
up- Well, we played 12 or 13 fucking in London. What
I know.
That has
Don't
nothing
get-
to
you're
do with what he
getting
said
stuck on
either.
that.
So now you've gone on to a third subject.
You're getting caught up on that, Tony.
That wasn't even the point of the discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's part of it.
It's not part of it. The top half of the table has nothing to do with London.
It's
It's funny.
it's called the schedule gives you special times where it's easier to pick.
So you're
up
saying it's
points.
easier to play when you don't have to travel far. Is that what you're trying to say?
When you say London, you mean the Emirates or there's some other clubs that are in London, Tony?
No,
We played 12 or 13
Yeah.
in London.
we played Crystal Palace. We played who else?
Chelsea, Fulham, Brentford,
Chelsea. I don't know.
Brentford,
Yeah, Fulham.
Fulham,
Yeah,
Tottenham.
Tottenham. Yeah, exactly.
That's
Stephen,
what I was-
last season, Manchester City won the league with a similar record versus the top 10 clubs, but they were consistent.
No, they always said you don't really have to beat the top 6. You just have to beat the bottom 14.
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's part of it. But there are we have to improve on the second part of the schedule. Like I said, beating Tottenham in the early part of the season at their place, it means nothing if you don't come back to the Emirates and get your 3 points as well. Beating Aston Villa at their place early in the season means nothing if you don't come back on Saturday and pick up 3 points against Aston Villa again. So we're going to get to that Aston Villa now, Tony, Alonso, Gary. And on Saturday, compare this to last season. Last season at home against Tottenham, we dropped 2 points. Last season at home against Aston Villa, we dropped all 3 points. We only got 1 point from these two fixtures last season, Tony.
Yep.
And Tony, I'm taking this one to you, Tony. On
What
Saturday, we
this
have an
person?
opportunity to get a full 6 points from these two fixtures against Unai Emery and Aston Villa.
Yeah, I mean, you see that they have the Champions League hangover. You've seen Newcastle come from nowhere, get to fourth. So you see what happens. Hopefully, hopefully it's one we win. But playing Emery's always been a chore for us. He seems up for it. So hopefully he's not too up for it. Hopefully we get a win. But I think we'll see a better game out of them this time than we did to start the season.
Yeah. Well, the difference is we have a home game versus away from home, I think we got a good 3 points against an Aston Villa team that was trying to find its feet.
I mean,
early in the
they're
season.
not necessarily playing that well coming into this thing.
They're not playing very well either, right? They've
No.
beaten an Everton side that's not great either. As well.
They beat Everton by 1. They beat Leicester. They drew to Brighton. Lost to Newcastle. So it's not like they're coming in ready to go.
No. And here's the thing with this as well, Gary. We lost to them at the Emirates in earlier this year or last year, right? April, May, whatever it was. It was probably the point in the season where Man City overtook us, and Man City didn't look back. We were able to finish the last 6 games, I think it was, and get wins, but the damage was done against Aston Villa. And this is something that the players need to take with them into Saturday's game.
Every game is like that now. We know this, right? So got to win every game. When we drop points in a game, it's treated. It should be treated as a loss. We need to redeem ourselves. So
Yeah.
got to win. Go and get another. Win if we can. Like I said, if we continue to play the performances we're putting up, we're going to put ourselves in position to win. If defensively we're solid, right? So we'll keep that up. It'll be all right.
We can't continue to play like that, though. I mean, we're putting good performances in. We're creating chances that we're not taking. If we start taking even half of these chances, we win games handsomely. Easily. It is what it is. Alonso, what are your thoughts? Your thoughts on Aston Villa?
Well, despite them not being out here as last year, I think what Unai Emery has done with his time at Villa has been pretty impressive. And they always work hard to get a victory. They have talent. Obviously, they have Tielemans, who I think Tony wanted. Ollie Watkins is playing good for them, and they have, of course, probably enemy number 1 in Martinez. So, we don't like them, but they get the job done elsewhere in the league. So, it's different. It's different having them. It's always different having a different top 4 every year. I'm hoping that Nottingham Forest stay up there because it's new as a fan seeing new teams get involved, like Villa were last year and like Newcastle the year before. So, I don't hate them as much as our rivals, but they concern me because they have talent. They're very well
Yeah.
coached. I think Emery used Arsenal as a second chance to get back in the Premier League, as in the sense that the mistakes he's made. Granted, there's a different team now that Arteta has, but I think he has a knack for fixing other clubs like he has at Villa. So you gotta respect the job he's done there. At least I do. But of course, I want Arsenal to win, and but I think what he's done there is quite remarkable. It's getting back to relevancy. Because I know they had a few tough years there, getting relegated and getting promoted back up. But yeah, it's quite phenomenal
we
what he's
helped them.
done there. So and then also using Jack Grealish as well. So using that, they've used money pretty well there. They bought Malin. Is that how you say his name? From
Yep.
Dortmund.
Malins come in. Yeah.
Who was a youth academy at Arsenal at one point. So obviously they buy players very smartly there, which is impressive as well. So yeah, I mean I respect what he's done there. But of course I'm going to lose on Saturday. But yeah, they're a threat now. So
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, we talked about Sesko, and in the Champions League, Aston Villa have been playing well. They beat RB Leipzig 3-2 in early December. Nottingham Forest beat them in middle of December, so Nottingham Forest have been a good team. They went on to beat Man City 2-1, who at the time, it was quite easy at the time. Man City were losing a lot of games to a lot of teams. Newcastle beat Aston Villa. But since then, they've put together a decent stretch with a draw against Brighton, defeating Leicester City, and most recently beating Everton. So, as Gary referenced, the last 3 or 4 games, they're not world beaters right now. They do have a couple of dangerous players. Ollie Watkins, maybe you mentioned Tielemans, and John Duran is another one as well. They got a decent. They've got decent players that can hurt us, but if we put the performance together that Gary's talking about and take some of our chances again, this should be, and it needs to be another 3 points to build upon what we did yesterday, beating Tottenham.
Hopefully, Ollie has the same boot time as he did the first game against this season. He had two easy chances, didn't bother us at all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hopefully that continues.
Hopefully, I don't know what's Ollie Watkins doing. He's playing pretty well. I want to check on his stats. But yeah, and then the other thing is Emi Martinez, right? He seems to always save some of his better performances for Arsenal.
I just think he wants to talk about Arsenal any chance he can.
Yeah, I mean we're probably. I don't know. I mean something. He feels like he was done badly, right? With Arteta.
I don't know what he expects. He was there 10 seasons. He didn't do anything outstanding until the last season. So,
well, I'm looking at Ollie Watkins here in 21 games this
Obviously,
season.
he's been consistent since he left. So was that Arsenal not realizing it, not giving him a chance? Because he obviously has played well since he left. He played, a good half season for us, right? And he's gone on and been pretty consistent since. So maybe it just wasn't his time until to the end. But he's been very consistent, right? We've seen similar thing with Xhaka, who's left, right? So they put a lot of effort into these players, and then when they finally do come true, they're gone. But he's actually shown what he's worth, right? So.
Tiger says Jorginho will score against Martinez again. Just look at Ollie Watkins' stats. In 21 matches, he's got 9 goals. So he's somebody we need to be very, very aware of if we wouldn't have been already for Saturday. You know what I mean?
He's
How long is
he's
what?
got similar. I mean, he's under his XG, right? So that's not a good thing. So
No. He's halfway to the tally of last season. 19 goals he had last season in 37 games. He's got another 16 to get 10 goals to equal that. Might be a bit tight for him to do that, but
And,
nevertheless, a player who can damage us. And he's the one who put the nail in our coffin last season, Tony.
and one thing about those 19 goals, Ray,
Yeah,
they were all from play,
no penalties.
no penalties.
Yeah, yeah. How long is one area out for? I mean, I feel like it was 4 or 5 weeks.
the
So,
thing is, he's supposed to be back probably in February. So
yeah, middle of February, I would say. So, Gary,
beginning. I think is.
a tricky stretch coming up, Gary. We've got Aston Villa, a Champions League game, Wolverhampton Wanderers away from home, and then Man City coming to the Emirates again. So consecutive match days at home will be Aston Villa and Man City coming up up to February 1st.
Well, we didn't take advantage, as Tony said, didn't really take advantage of the London trips that we've had, but I mean, you're gonna have to do it on the road to maintain the form that we want. So
the only way to do
win our
this,
next two matches will put ourselves in a good position in terms of the league and also the Champions League. Then we go on a little away trip, Wolves and Girona. We should still be able to manage see those games out, even if we don't bring a full squad or put our starters in. So,
yeah, and look, I fully believe that when we get to April, that will be very close to Liverpool. You know, there'll be only a few points in it, a handful of points. Whether we're ahead or still trailing them by 2 or 3 points, it'll be enough to where this thing will not be decided in April. It'll be decided in May. You know what I mean? So,
I'd rather we win it in April. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I'd like that as well. If it needs a Liverpool capitulation. We'll take a look around the league pretty quickly, and then we'll get out of here. What's going on over at City, Tony? I mean, you know, they seem to be signing some players. Are they going to climb back into this thing, Tony?
Yeah. I mean, they got the talent to, whether they do or not. Few people wanted away, so they went and got some new people. It's hard to say because it's supposedly Pep doing another year, so it just depends how bought in the players are to him staying or him leaving.
And he's bringing in Marmouche as well, so that's going to give back what who's the Argentine player that went to Spain for them. So he's going to replace what was taken away there. I forget.
Alvarez, is what you're saying?
Yeah, Alvarez.
Yeah.
So they're missing Alvarez goals. Omar Mamouche is going to be a difficult and tricky player who should be able to help Erling Haaland and the forward line up there. Gary, I'll give you Chelsea. What's going on with Chelsea lately?
I think they are what we thought they are. Right? I mean, they're going to struggle a little bit on defense. They will give you chances, and teams are taking advantage of that. They're not consistent. It's just they're building. They've got the talent. I don't think I think some people will think. I think it's going to take them time. They have the talent.
Yeah,
it's going to take them time. They're probably going to have to still upgrade. They have to upgrade that defense for sure. Offensively, I think they've got enough answers, right? So
they had a bit of a purple patch, right, in November. They were hanging in there in November, December, but I think we have to look at the league. You know, at certain points, the cream comes to the top, and you know it's Liverpool and Arsenal right now. Alonso, Newcastle. What's going on in Newcastle?
I don't know. They're not paying theirs. I'm joking. Right. So to me, it seems like Isak seems to be playing really well lately, and I think as an Arsenal fan, you think to yourself, well, if they keep on winning, they're going to get Champions League football, which means they're going to keep Isak and give him a contract extension probably to stay. Um, I didn't believe in Isak maybe when the year started, but dude, this guy's good, man. He
Yeah.
has a different dimension to Newcastle, and as a fan, of course, the way they play us, I was telling a guy earlier, like when we played Tottenham yesterday, um, how they they always seem to get the better of us every time we play them. Seems like they bully us, and it's like that mentality wall that we have. It's like, well, what do Arsenal have to do to overcome them? And Eastside playing the way he's been playing for them lately to me, it's a tall task. Especially going back to St. James Park, trying to overcome that two-lead deficit. It's really, really tough because they play good at home, and in the past they always play hard against us at their place. So
Yeah.
it's a missed opportunity, and this is what Arteta has to question himself he has to question himself whether they're up for it or not, because that's a big indicator on what can happen in the upcoming months.
Yeah. When it comes to that second leg, obviously, if they score, it's over. Forget about it if they score. But this game could go in the balance, Tony, if Arsenal grab a goal within the first hour, even after 60 minutes. If it goes in a 0-0 at halftime and we get a goal after 60 minutes, we got 30 minutes to get a second goal. Who knows what could happen? I'm
It's
not
home
willing
and
to.
away. It's
I'm not
home and
willing to give
away,
up on
right?
it, Tony.
Home and away, right? Not two-legged.
All went away. Anything else we want to
But
talk
according to
about?
Tony, it doesn't make a difference, right? So you could get the win there,
Yeah.
right, Tony?
Yeah, well,
Gary,
Yeah,
anyone else you want to talk about? You want to talk about Nottingham Forest, Liverpool, or
Nottingham
Man
Forest.
United?
No, they're playing consistent and really good. I mean, I think they don't have any international matches, so they can just do what they've been doing. So they've been playing really well. No, I mean we played them and it didn't look like it has for any other teams, right? No, I don't think
Yeah.
anybody's talking about that, right? But
Yeah, we
we
beat
beat
them
them 3-0, and
comprehensively.
then and they've had runs on either side of that. So either we got their number after they spanked us, or they punched us in the mouth the first time we played them when we played them in the cup match. But otherwise, I think they've been pretty good, and like I said, I think the one thing that we have over a lot of teams is defensively we're solid, so we just have to be able to score more.
I'll
That's it.
tell you what. There's 17. There's what 15 points between Nottingham Forest and Man United.
It's crazy.
Nottingham Forest are third, Man United are 12th. But Ruben Amorim would want his Manchester United team to play. I think that's the way he wants his Man United team to play, like Nottingham Forest have been playing. Working hard, being defensively difficult, and scoring goals. Enough to get the job done. The goal difference from Nottingham Forest is not great, just +10, but that means they'll be winning some games on a narrow margin. But definitely Nottingham Forest have been a surprise package so far to be in third place. Tony, Liverpool or Man United?
Liverpool.
All right, go.
What do you want me to tell you about them?
Just say a few words about them,
mate?
and then we're out of here. We made it to the 3-hour mark, Tony.
Yeah, I hate to cover your team.
All right. Give us your final words, Tony. We should get out of here.
Everybody just keep their heads down, takes what life gives them, and keep on going.
Yeah. I like those words, Tony, because if Arsenal didn't win against Tottenham, they would have been very good words of advice for a lot of people. Thankfully, Arsenal did get the win against Tottenham. Gary, what have you got for signing off?
Yeah. As I said, if we can continue to perform the way we do and we can improve just a little bit, we should be able to get the win. We're at home against Villa. Defensively, we can keep a clean sheet. I think we'll definitely put ourselves in a good position to win. So
And we're still on for the treble, Gary.
For the treble, I'm going to one game at a time. Let's just win this one. All right. Let's just win this one.
Lolo and I are all there for the treble. Alonso, you get the final word.
Right. For the rhythm, for the ride, hey Jamaica, it's upside time. Not joking. No, but yeah, I mean, I think Arsenal. Like I said before, this is like a momentum builder for them beating the arch rivals. So I think hopefully this will turn to something good. And where they can just stop drawing game after game. I think they definitely have game winners up their sleeve. I think they can ride this momentum hopefully into maybe April.
Yeah, I think we got this Liverpool team rattles. They've got Mo Salah and Van Dijk. There's not a whole lot after that, in my opinion. We're missing Bukayo Saka, but we just need a little bit more from other players in our team. And I've always said it. It's about Arsenal this season. What can we do? What can we do?
Remember, you're also missing Ben White too.
Ben White too. Yeah, Benny Blanco. All right, listen, I've enjoyed this get together tonight. Gary, thanks for joining. Alonso, thanks for joining. Tony, go check out. You got any shows this weekend?
I had one earlier. We might do something this weekend.
Right.
It's kind of up to Alonso and Russ.
Right. Alonso, you got anything going on this weekend?
I might do a short podcast myself. To discuss the Eagles and Arsenal and maybe my disappointment on Penn State losing, my prediction on the national championship game. What's ahead? And my interest in using ride for 56 for Tricon Garage. It's like they're like a truck series in NASCAR, and Disney ride. He paid a ride out for him for Daytona 500. So I might talk about that as well. Anyway.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
And Gary, you got a show on Saturday?
Yep, Saturday. We're back on.
Are you probably going to be Are you going to extend and watch the game?
Yeah, I'll probably stay on and just do the watch along for the game. Yeah. So and then we'll be back on Monday for the Arsenal review.
All right, you've been watching the Thursday Night Forum. Thank you, everybody. 3 more points. Got to win again against Unai Emery's crowd. And let's get that win. Thanks, everybody. We're out of here.